infót elfelejtsem. Jó, de hát tudod, hogy működik ez. Igen, rengeteg a...
Alright, well, I'm gonna have to say goodbye to Gibson and Martin, number 2 for the day, as it is time for the grassy pastures of Erangel. You saw
de most megnézzük a Nations Cupot, ahol ez hajlósülként magyar nincsen. PPS-ben.
Erangel for game 11 of the tournament match.
Úgyhogy itt el leszünk, dubálgatunk, el vagyunk, nem el vagyunk. Megnézzük tényleg, hogy a profikról játszanak, baszki, mert egyszerű jól lenne már jól játszani.
I feel like this is kind of an allusion to what we might be seeing here in just a little while, given the amount of water we've been seeing on Erangel.
De amúgy király ez a Nations Cup, hogy ilyeneket csinálnak még mindig a PUBG-ben. Ja, meg lesz G-coin sorsolás. Végtelen mennyiségű. Kurva sok G-coin van. Majd lehet, hogy meg is csináljuk mindjárt a sorsolást is. Lehet, ezt megnézzük. Utána megcsinálom a kommandot hozzá. Viszontok hozzá.
They need to start it fast and heavy. They need to make sure that they're going for more kills, controlling the territory around them as much as possible. It's been a little bit more in a passive style of control rather than on the hunt for any form of points. Finland also
mi ez az upbeat zene a háttérben, miközben ugranak le? Haló? Very Korea. To be recognized as official co-streamers for the main broadcast, you must initiate the co-stream by clicking the co-stream button on the main broadcast channel. Igen, de az hiányzik nekem, az a button. Miről maradtam le?
Philippines obviously very happy with that, but at the same time that's a lot of teams in the north here that are not
németek
going to
amúgy
be
jó
happy with that.
PUBG-be
There may end up being some emergency pickups coming in, or some facilitates coming into this one. But again, Matchroom, so much water.
Yeah, and we don't even have like the full like western section of what's going on with military base island. Philippines are going to be in a great position off the start, with Thailand going to be kind of in a control area that they can kind of move down from the northern section of the bridge. So we're going to take kind of a look back onto what was going on with Korea and kind of the rotates coming in.
Ez egy másik ma.
Just a little bit.
I wonder.
Nagyon szépen köszi a teenages feliratkozást, köszi, szép fulázás.
This was of course the one that they had on Tego yesterday with them having the urban finish and situation going down. The thing is about these kinds of situations though is that it's a bit circle dependent as well as how you're going to transition forwards. There was a world where other teams could have quite easily won this had they had one more alive. I'm looking at Germany, I'm looking at Thailand, right? That would have shaped things up completely, but they did go into
lootalást azt nem is nézzük, tehát megnézzük az előző köröket, hogy jó voltak benne.
Brazil was also a looming threat that was drawing a lot of the aggro for different teams, kind of getting picked apart, but they managed to put in enough work and put in the attrition war to kind of prep up everything that Korea could swoop in and just tackle everything at the right moment, pick up these kills and propel themselves into a much better position. I am curious though, because with Korea picking up this game, it gives them a lot of momentum moving into this final day.
Azt hittem, hogy azért kell keresni itt.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing as well is that a lot of the teams here into this urban ending, it felt to me like Germany and Thailand didn't have too much of an opportunity to switch out their weapons, right? You saw Korea, they had an S12K, they had a pump action shotgun, they had Panzerfaust, all going into these final moments. And even if there was like a man difference or anything like that, Korea just came in with far more strength in terms of their overall loadout into a circle like this compared to the other teams.
Figyelj, Attis, nekem, mennyire hangos egyébként, hogy vegyem a halkabra, hogy tudunk beszélgetni közben?
What are you looking at in this? You're just listening for footsteps. Didn't even know exactly where to go for those first couple of shots. Just heard the steps, decided to follow through. This has already been a couple of big rotates. Thailand.
Szóval figyeljetek, de tegnap elment az áram kétszer, tehát nem elment az áram, csak ilyen áram kimaradás volt, tudjátok, ez a fél másodperces, ezek a tized másodperces kimaradások. És a mai nap látom a bejáratnál, hogy július 26-ra van ütemezve trafó meg áramellátás, karbantartás és korszerűsítés. Vajon mi történhetett? Úgyhogy a mai nap még lehet áramkimaradás. De megpróbáltam minimalizálni a dolgot, úgyhogy kikapcsoltam egy pár dolgot, például a lámpa sem megy most teljes erővel, a stúdió lámpa az most nem megy. Nem az a lényeg, hogy nagyon jól sikerült, hanem az, hogy ugye tegnap volt áramkimaradás, kétszer egymás után, és elég komoly elektromos eszközök tudnak tönkre menni, például a gépem, ugye mert nincsen UPS-em. Ezzel egyébként volt egy tegnap egy beszélgetés, igaz, és vicces volt. De ja, hogy ugye másnapra, azaz mára, már kirakták, hogy július 26-kor, jövő hónapban igazából, korszerűsítik. Komoly egyébként ebben a nagy melegben, gondolom egyébként boldog-boldogtalan nyomja a klímát ezerrel. Az igen, Kína azért meg kifele a vízben csinálnak. Mindegy. És gondolom a nagy melegtől így mindenki nyomja az áramot, azt nem bírja. Ezerrel. Pedig kapitány Pista meg is mondta bazzák, hogy 6 után nem kell használni sok mindent. Mondjuk itt ment 1000-rel, úgyhogy mindegy. Really does depend on if they actually kind of hunt them down and get rid of them. Jövő héten egyébként egy kis side info itt a rotálások mellé. Ugye felírtuk a játékokat, hogy felírtunk azért gyakorlatilag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 játékot, amivel játszanunk kéne. Viszont jövő héten még nincsen abból semmi, ellenben annyi van, hogy kedden nem leszek, mert jönnek klímát takarítani, és nem tudom, hogy azt hogy csinálnak, nem akarok streamet megszakítani, úgyhogy kedden nem leszek, szombaton ugye szülcsi napcsim van, úgyhogy azért nem vagyok. Vasárnap megyünk GT3-ra a Hungaroringra, úgyhogy azért nem vagyok. Viszont hétfőn ki kellene találni valami szülcsi napcsis hosszabb streamet. Valakinek van valami ötlete? Ja, kedden klímát takarítanak nálam, úgyhogy igen, mert most jelenleg levettem 20 fokra, és olyan, mint semmit nem csinálnak. El van dugulva bazzeg a sok szartól.
China's actually got a full-on bridge camp that they might be setting up, or maybe just trying to scout before they make their forward movement in.
Szülinapi 24 órás albiot? Amúgy bazzeg én azt az albiot, amúgy aktuálisan élveztem, geci, ez a baj. Főleg ezt a izét, azt a lenti módot. Nem is tudom mi volt annak a neve, az a roguelike-os mód. Az amúgy aktuálisan király volt szerintem. Mehet a Warhammer Army festő stream. Az komoly! What? Gliderből kibaszta. Az a baj az ivós lájval egyébként, nem nagyon idhatom a gyógyszer miatt. Nyilván lesz csalónap. Lehet, hogy hétfőn egyébként pont csalónap, azt már meglátjuk. De hogy nem feltétlenül akarnék, meg amúgy is 100 000 fok van, bazd meg. Esküszöm, hogy az alkohol nem is jó. Kína megjött. What? Kína mekkora patkány amúgy, nagyon jó. Az Vietnám, mi kajak? Nem, az csak... Ja nem, az meg kajak, igazad van. Vagy? De. Az Vietnám genyó. Még a vietnámiak is kint vannak, bazd meg, ez mi meg nem? Milyen magyarok vagyunk mi? Szóval a Warhammer Army festés az nem én vagyok. China's already going to encroach in a bit more. Brazil might be following in right back behind Ukraine, Indonesia going for pedig én úgy tudtam, hogy a magyarok azok a 3 milliós PUBG-s országa. Persze Szikit el kéne küldeni, bazzeg. Az is mit csinál? Mit csinál, bazd meg, Szikárió is? Vitális fasz. Bazzeg, kimegy fotózgatni, bazzeg. No Fear 88, bazzeg, meg Fearless fotózós Gergő, bazzeg. Adjuk is, bazzeg. Madarakat elkezdett fotózni, bazzeg, 40 évesen.
resistance on the other
Ha
side.
rendben leszek téma, amúgy is melegíteni kell a szervezetet. No.
Michael does find Purdy Curdy, guys go for a little bit of a spray and take him down. Yesterday one of the PC swap outs was for Michael, so I think he's happier with this PC now, but VAR did knock Purdy, so that's one away from USA.
I don't know what USA and Great Britain, like how they started this whole thing, where they ended up forcing Fax into Lippo, and then that's just been a carryover, but they are both committed into trying to get something out of it. I think it's just due to how dramatic the circle just keeps popping more and more to the south. They know that there's going to be a lot.
A Warhammer festés az oda jó lenne. Az a baj, hogy most nem fogok elkölteni 105-öt seregre, miután arra se legyen időm. Amerikaiak mi a fasz csinálnak amúgy? Össze-vissza mászkálnak a mapon.
Be damned your 250th anniversary. The British are back. The Redcoats are coming.
All the best food you roll on right inside.
The chat tepsi.
Okay, so USA, what do? You got a BRDM, I guess.
Ja, jó lenne Warhammer, bazzánk.
Még
Dark Titles-nék is amúgy most kurva szívesen. Kedden egyébként off-stream mehet majd valami amúgy.
I can only agree, Matrim. I can only agree. We've got a lot of work to do.
Jó, jutottak sokáig? Nézzük el, használtad olcsó armét, meg van direkt ilyen kis festős bandölök mindig. Nincs olyan, ami ki van festve. Én értem, hogy egyébként az a izéje. Isten, van izé, van red zone e-sport izé beállításokon. Sorry. Kajak van.
Big explosions popping off on neutral. They're on the center position on this.
Forza lesz jövő héten. Jövő héten az biztos, hogy lesz Forza. Csak meg akarom várni a következő eventet. Most kiszerem a pörgetéseket, aztán jövő héten megcsináljuk együtt a pörgetéseket.
Come on, south, please, please.
Kell venni 3D nyomtatót?
Okay, that's still a lot of water. That is still a lot of water.
A YouTube az meg izé van szerintem
Denmark has already kind of positioned themselves in compounds down there where they
nem nyilvánosban, pláne. Azt meg aztán nem lehet megtalálni.
So we already saw how well they did in that cliffside finish on that first Erangel, but all of these teams now sending it forwards here. South Korea coming in. They've got to get some points on the board.
Az milyen ország?
This is going to be terrible. This is so flat as far as circles go. We lost
jó kérdés amúgy.
Ukraine. Boostic, we've been seeing this guy just murder
National Education Union.
Brazil in their rotate. I think maybe let most of it go. That US is just
Popular National Academic Testing and Trial Program in Indonesia operated Indonesia.
Ukraine's going to get caught out.
Apparently.
Boostic goes down.
No, this is not good for a team that had a BRDM and potentially some easy salvation in a game like this. You can't be losing people early. But that being said, though, BL and are cracking her down here. 2 defects. Tony does actually knock him as well, but Hakatori's taking sparking. This could be the perfect opportunity if they the rest of the lobby.
This is such a problem. Everybody on the chase back behind him. Korea's already inside the circle, 20 points back behind. Tony knows he needs to get this res and they've got to get out. But Philippines now focusing in. Red Zone's going to be on top of him as well. There's still a couple of little hurdles that they have to go for after this one. It looks like Ukraine is on the hunt. They want to try to close out this as well. They're coming up from the other side. I don't even know how Brazil can get out of this position. Algiers just on top of him already.
He knows he's going to be cooking up a nade. They have to separate out as quickly as possible here. I think he might have seen a little bit. Goes down. Tony's going to have to try and escape on the left-hand side here as well. Alan Bots here from Philippines does big damage to Brazil. He's trying to swing around. Goes for the shots. Misses them. Brazil is out in 16th place to start off day number 3.
That is a terrible start. Korea taking some casualties as well, having a little bit of a falter. China's already lost 1. Neutral still in position, holding down a great point inside the circle, but it's going to be right next to Korea. Nade starting to roll out, goes a bit too far, but Korea's trying to get their damage control. Figure that out, but they're neutral in front of them. If they can eliminate neutral, that's going to be even more breathing room from the squads back behind them, but neutral needs every point they can get, and they are
nekem a TPS versenyekkel még annyira nincs is bajom egyébként, tényleg. Szerintem azért jó kis. Fullosan. De bazzeg, az, hogy ennyire throwable heavy a game, hát tudom bazzeg, ez kicsit fura számomra. Nézzek, hát hajlék gránátot kerüli a pali. Bazzeg eddig kapott vagy 8-at. Neutrál team, ezt írják Wikipédián. Neutrál, lehet, hogy tényleg az oszok.
Jirexi is actually parachuting in above this to try and get towards the rest of Finland on this west side if our circle goes towards the shoreline again.
Hát de mi hogy lehet valaki semlegeset Nations
USA is called in their reinforcements like we talked about. Let's see how they go for land. Great Britain's trying to make an approach into the circle. They're going to be running up against Vietnam. Oh, circle pops and it stays along the coastline. Denmark in a phenomenal
Úristen, az a kör!
Yes, they are. This is a huge
Úristen, az a kör, hülye, az menjen! Jézusom! Pont itt tudnám idézni. Hát de a Svájc sem olyan. De ez nem izé háborúban, ezek függetlenek kell lenni, de a Svájc kivalakanám. Szerintem oroszok lesznek azok egyébként a izé miatt, ami eltörténik. Nem is. Kína? Hát azért itt meg kéne ülni egymás mellett, amúgy nem tudom más csinálni. Hát az semmi értelme. Szóval pont tudnám idézni a körrel kapcsolatban, azért, hogy ebbe a körbe most nagyon sokan fognak meghalni.
Yeah,
igen, erre gondoltam én is többség.
Important points for them to try and make the catch up happen as well. That's on the north side of this circle at the moment. Here's the problem.
Hát a fehér zászlós francia, az teljesen egyetértek.
Almost never in professional PUBG do we get a final circle on this location
Levente ő,
on
nem?
these compounds. So this is going to be a problem. All of these teams in the north side are going to have to solve that they've almost never had to solve before on an international stage.
Massive shout out on that one. Argentina's going to regroup right next to Denmark. USA just seeing if maybe they can get down next to Shrimsy. Kickstart's making a run, but it's going to be while the Finns are making their pass. Turkey's got themselves a foothold right on the edge of the zone.
Annyira szomorú egyébként egy ilyen esport jellegű versenyben, az így a rezelés, mint olyan, az így annyira kicsi százalék. Finnek is lenokkolták be ezek kilométerekre a körtől. Esélytelen meg felszedni.
More nades forwards here. Levante goes for the orc spray to try and do a little bit more damage as Adus is going to reposition himself. Take her quite low. Scappy low and does get naded out here. Unfortunately, that nade also catches Batulins, but I think they realize that there was going to be no.
Néha úgy érzem egyébként, egy ilyen encounter, mert mindenki rátaszol, amint lehet.
Because the thing is that them moving in from this north side without any more casualties would be very surprising indeed. The car for Belmont actually burning away. He's got to be careful just out of the radius of that one.
Nade kind of helped him get away from that firefight that was about
amúgy
to cook him.
Le kéne lőnie, nincs esélybe futni. Sokkal jobban jár, hogy lelövi és kap izé pontot a killért. Igen. Nem fog tudni bevenni, esélytelen. Ne, pont nem látjuk!
Yeah, they took down Ukraine, so I suspect this is Ukraine's, unless they had one themselves. I didn't quite see beforehand, but neutral here, still looking for a little bit more trance up towards the north. China's actually crashing into this location as well. Neutral's got to be quite careful.
Imádom egyébként, hogy vannak izékben az rendes százalékok. Lehetett olyan izére is? Fogadni is amúgy rá? Korea nyert az 1v1-et. Mi a lenti srác megnyerte? Jesus. Lézom alakulódott 2, az egyik lesz Fex, ugye? Temus.
China's at least managed to reinforce themselves, get close enough. Panzerfaust looks like it's going to go a little bit right.
Kaftanéjája az volt kint tényleg.
As it flies right over their head, maybe even going for Cowboy, I don't know.
Yeah, he was aiming. Yeah, he was aiming.
Azek elvittek egy panzert. Az a néd!
It's going to be able to bobble on down there once again, do some damage against China. You can see the hunger in neutral China and Korea realizing that Brazil had gone down as early as they had, and now Levante down here for neutral. It is not easy for them to make the recovery. God, this terrain so hard for these teams to play at the moment. You see how
néha nagyon nehéz látni egyébként, hogy mi történik, azért, mert annyira ugrál a kamera. De orosz csapat tagjai, gondoltam. Igen.
And that's forcing Korea back into that neutral line that they've been trying to avoid for so long. Kudos to neutral, though. They've been in the thick of this firefight for so long, and they're holding it together. They're not being able to really get control of the territory yet. Just
minden verseny TPS-ben van már. Megvan ennek is az oka egyébként, amúgy nem feltétlen rossz, mi is játszottunk TPS tüzébe, ilyen meghívott versenyen, tök okés volt. Azta! Az USA-ból hogy él még 4 ember, geci? Hát az elején lerokkoltak 10.
Blue looking for a bit more against Korea as they're trying to move in against this hybrid scope, able to switch between that 1 to 4 times.
Levante spots out Human. He goes down. Korea in trouble. It might be Neutral that walks away the biggest winner out of everything that's going on over here. 7 kills. Yeah. Climbing up, chasing back behind Korea. 8-point difference right now. And it's Korea's 3 points about all they've managed to find. 17 points still up to Brazil. Korea wanted a big game here, and it feels like it's just been stolen from them.
God, if you're Denmark, though, as well, you're chomping at the bit, right? You're thinking to yourself, gosh, I wish people would come into our lines of sight. You've had this circle for so long, and nobody's coming in.
Hogy tudja megtalálni egyébként azt a
Everybody's still
kurva?
playing edge here for the most part. Good nade from Schiller there against Scav to try and shut down this position.
Megtalálta azt a pontot, ahol pont
nem
bassza senki.
Looking to try and keep this going, a little bit rolling forwards. Sata, be careful, mate.
Hey, I was worried that car was going to get him, but hey, Kickstart will just finish it out. Given the way USA started with the whole Great Britain fiasco that was going on over there,
komoly volt, nem
they're
szarakodott.
back together pretty efficiently. Philippines tries to go after Germany, draws a lot of aggro from everybody in the circle essentially, and that activates Neutral. They are on the hunt. They realize that this could be their big so much more.
Yeah, Beamy didn't know about Philippines still moving in. Now your bots was able to survive on that east side and has been knocked. Now there needs to be a reinforcement coming in from Denmark if you want to be
az lenne a legideálisabb egyébként, hogy a BRDM-mel szerintem valahol a körszélén megbújnak, és a legvégén majd, amikor nem kell, megvédik a BRDM-et, bejönnek, az kb. Free win. Valaki még játszik ezzel a játékkal? Á, nem, senki.
Argentina is finally finding their kills. They've been putting in a lot of work. I don't know what
Egy még van az évből az neutrál csapatból.
On nothing. These guys have been shooting at all of this firefight that's been going on over here. I think that they've shot at least 7 or 8 different teams at this point. While Neutral's going to go ahead and back themselves back up.
Panzer van nála!
Everybody ready to go because it is just a doozy and Lou running into what, a crossfire position between Denmark and Argentina with Germany on one side and heaven still alive for Korea on the other.
Yeah, what a war it's been on the north side. And the thing is that with Brazil dropping a donut, if
they drop yet another donut, if they can't give in to some of the pressure of this final day, everything's totally open again in this tournament. And that is wild to think of, considering what Brazil has done in the last 2 days. Hogyha lehetne választani, akkor én most az izét, vagy a Kínának, vagy az
Argentinának a játékstílusát tudnám így reprezentálni kb. Oh no, that nade bounces the wrong way.
És oda, bizony, oda néz. Oda néz, a németek bazdmeg izé, már készülnek a blitzkriegre.
Trench warfare, not even inside the circle, just making, they're trying to mine their way into the circle is what it feels like, because they don't want to deal with Neutral. And given that Panzerfaust is up, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I think the end of the trench is in, which that trench line has
elképesztő bazdmeg, de szétadom egyébként amúgy, hogy ilyen izét, ilyen okos megoldásokat tudnak csinálni.
Sticking to tried and true strategies there, and now what are you gonna do? Neutral, this is not necessarily as clean of approach as you want. Germany's got 2 players lined in waiting. Doozy not really being able to find much with Panzerfaust.
A Panzerra nagyon ki akar előni ezt a Panzer, nincsen egyszerűen izé
ott. For the peak up is going to be a problem. Pains gets a knock on to Lou.
Kalocsai nagyon szépen köszi a raidet, szavaztok.
You've had a phenomenal game. Can you get anything more out of it?
Yeah, Flash should try and slow him down. If this Panzerfaust, there's
nekik egyébként semmi más dolguk nincsen, amúgy csak letartani azt az egyetlen egyen neutrál embert, aki ott van, viszont a kört tolja. Konkrétan csak annyi kell nekik, hogy letartják. De az a baj ugye, hogy tehát egy TPS-be látja, hogy hova néznek ki, hova futnak, kit néznek, kb. Neki esélytelen bejönni. Phase 6. Ennyi híja van még. Még 10 first aid-je van. Az ki fogja húzni itt, ameddig lehet. Igen. Köszönöm szépen, hogy szavaztak királyok, mit tudtam. Beszarok, basszeg, beástak a körbe. Hát ez kurva jó, basszeg. Hát ez elképesztő.
And get a few more points, but 9 kills for Neutral. That, in my book, is kind of a win here for them so far on the catch-up.
Yeah, it cost Denmark so much. Look at Denmark right now. They've got 3 kills. They've got complete circle control.
High groundon vannak, úgyhogy nem nagyon tudnak oda begrántozni senki
szerintem. Was going to be their destiny game. It has put them up next to China again, so that's going to feel really good.
Tudják, hogy nem lokkolódott, mert látnák a kill feed-en.
They've got has kind of usurped the thunder that Denmark was wanting to take from this
Még
game.
2 first stage
Smart
van.
move by Chris as well. Just really constricting a doozy on any options he may have here. He's gonna try and go for the reload, try and go for one.
Áj, hova ment az a panzer, basszus?
Yeah, too difficult to really make that happen.
Igen, ha eltalálta volna egyébként, akkor egyet talán nokkol, és talán be tud futni a fa mögé. Ez ilyen nagyon-nagyon talán volt amúgy.
Neutral, very nicely done.
De komoly volt, komoly volt.
Argentina on that west side, alongside Germany, going to be the next teams to move.
Yeah, it looks like Argentina's going to focus on to USA's position. USA playing right along the coast, and that's going to be kickstart and Kurt last 2 up.
Hát németeknek kellene itt valahogy befutni.
No way to really cut a trench down into this. Maybe USA could be enough of a distraction because it looks like most of Denmark as well as Argentina is pretty focused in, but Kapitan!
Jajjaj! De valaki nekem magyarázza el, könyörgöm, hogy miért használnak az emberek 5-ös DMR-t. DMR-ek húgyba lettek nerfelve, és az 5-ös DMR-ek amúgy se sebeznek. Miért? Az amerikaiak már nem tudom hanyadjára nokkolódnak folyamatosan, és mondom, egészen eddig, nem is olyan régen, még 4-en voltak. Komoly infók ezek. Chris, németeknek gatya, pedig tetszett az a német taktika amúgy.
So at least has some defense as well as Denmark is focused in, all eyes away from that German defensive position now since they're entirely gone.
Not the gun I was expecting to see in the hands of Gustav there at this
moment.
Go for another. At least he slows down Argentina for his money. But that was a good salvage game overall for USA. And once again, Avenger felt like there should have been that game early in this one, thanks to this compound, thanks to a stranglehold they had on it, and they should be able to round this out considering their position.
I mean, Argentina still has a ton of players alive, so this should feed over a decent amount of kills. How does Argentina want to play this? Presently sitting in 8th place. Just a couple of points back behind Denmark, if you really look at it. 9 altogether, so feeding over more points to them. Specifically, these 3 could be a big problem for them. So does Argentina go for the bold play? Do they go after Denmark, potentially giving Denmark more of a lead on them? Or are they just going to play this more passive? A lot of smoke's now coming down. I have to feel that they want to go for this.
I'm going to tell you, Argentina's going to have to pull out some crazy yo-yo tricks to make this work, I think. Walking the dog, they're going to have to do everything here for this one. It's going to be difficult.
Nagyon nehéz onnan bejönniük, amúgy viszont le vannak
Can
tartva.
Argentina do this because all onus is on them. They've got to make the move. It's on the defense and
nagyon nehéz helyre kell menni. Nézd a kicsit dugta ki a fejét, azért már
But Argentina has managed to sneak in closer and closer. They are getting points of egress into where we can see Denmark's defensive territory.
Ha nem tudnak kitásni szerintem. 1 mínusz, 3v3.
25% is way too generous. These roofs are too strong. The center point of this circle too strong as well. As Argentina is hoping and praying for an absolute miracle. Because Denmark has barely had to take any fights, so they're going to have loads of util. They're going to have the superior angles. Argentina is doing pretty well to move up to some of this deployable cover.
Van még nála még 3 flash, egy smoke. Az a frag.
All pressure now just
3v2, és tolni fogja a köröket.
Still on the outside of everything. Now just has to shoot their way in. They have to make sure that they connect onto these shots. And Denmark just isn't giving them the angles. Nothing to be done. They decide to feed themselves. They're just going to go down, deny out the points. That means Denmark.
És az argentinok gyakorlatilag majdnem ugyanazt csinálták. Csak a kis körszűkülés az egyiknek jobban kedvezett. Wow, az mennyire komoly az a izés amúgy, az a kivetítő.
Hey, to be fair, Denmark's a small country. There's a lot of coastline there. I guess they're very used to this from in real life. Gibson and Mark joining me once again. What do you think, Mark?
100%. What's it? 2-3 times Denmark?
Wow, menő.
Me and Gibson sitting there going, please
Király nagyon. De csináljunk izét. Azokban játszanak. Csináljunk egy G-coin.
Game 1 here, guys. Oh my god, the early
nyereményjátékot.
Going down. But my big question back to you, James, is did anyone else really capitalize on that?
Na nézzük, azt mondja, hogy csináljunk egy 5-öset.
Yeah, barely. I think the gap between first and second is only 15 points.
És akkor a következő game. Sorsoljuk ki, I guess. Nem megy tovább azonnal.
But one thing I will say, I did start to get PTSD when I saw an Argentinian team take themselves out at the end of a game. Like we saw how badly that went at the last BGS, but I think that was the right decision.
Azt kell beírni, és mehet a nyereményjáték. 5 darab ezres G-coint fogok kisorsolni PUBG-hez. Szóval 5000 G-coin, az mindjárt megnézzük, hogy az mennyi pénz. 5000 G-coin in money.
I think that they know the severity of how tight the mid pack is and how many of these teams are going to have to go up against in these kinds of moments. So I get the denial, even though yes, I also was a little bit concerned because we've seen too many of these moments happen. But yes, Denmark, basically, let's be real here, Matrim, as long as they didn't
$50 az jelenleg, 50 USD-t, 20 millió $10 megy, tehát azért 15 000. Jó. Na, úgyhogy azt kell beírni, lehet nyerni, és akkor következő játék végénél sorsolunk szerintem. YouTube-on nem működik.
Oddly enough, it feels like Neutral was the biggest beneficiary for Brazil inside of this. Neutral eating so many of the points and really kind of taking the fight to Korea and China both opened up no real big lead capabilities in the catch-up.
Valahogy összefűzöm a kettőt, de egyelőre még nem tudom. Majd az is a to-do listámon van.
Do you think that we might be seeing Neutral finally come alive? Because it's day 3. We know whenever that squads, those players, they seem to come alive on day 3 time and time again.
I've got a lot to say about that. I mean, obviously, the last time they were here,
obviously,
right, they were in first place all the way until the last game in 2019, and then basically Neutral was able to win it out in the very last game, right? So yes, even they have the pedigree of coming alive in the later stages. Aduzi was there back in 2019. As we take a look at the points coming in from this. That said, though, I will say, continuing on this Neutral line, Mark, that if this was any other year, 2024, 2025, whatever, everybody would be looking at that team as the absolute
10 a helyezésért, 6 a killért.
Now, you know, the powers have shifted and things like that, but maybe they can come back alive here in this last day.
Amúgy az első hely 10 pont az annyira nem olyan extra szerintem. Nyilván egyébként 9 kért vagy 10 kért összehozni, az nagyon-nagyon nehéz.
Points here, and you go back to Neutral, there are now 3 teams in that 80 points, so there has been a gap closed. It's not huge, but Brazil, surely they can't falter again.
Ez a harmadik helyen vannak a dánok.
I said it during the cast, right? If another donut occurs for them, that'll be scary times.
Kezdetjé. És úgy minden kedves nézőnek a chaten, rohanok ebédre, mindenki rám vár, sietek vissza, ahogy tudok. Jól van, papám. Nyomod. Jó az étvágy.
And funny enough, on the final day, they dropped their first donut on the map, so I think that
értem én, hogy kell majd beállás, meg minden,
Yeah, it's a good point.
Születésnapra az időjárás tekintetében nagyon menne egy hot tub stream. Miért írja le mindenki a kibaszott hot tub streamet forró csőként?
Can we talk about no damage taken by
Karen? Konkrétan.
Is he just a pacifist?
Öcskösöm! Mondjuk ahogy kicsit valami aktivitást, nem amúgy.
I love it. I love Levante getting the love of showing performance on the international stage. This guy is an up and I don't even want to call him an up and comer anymore, just because he's already kind of
édes és túlképzett vagyok. Aki a kulázásról beszél reggel, azok 20 percen keresztül, az biztos vagyok benne, hogy teljes mértékben az. Ja, már én is azt szoktam csinálni, akkor mindegy. Szegény kis Timer mindjárt alszik be ezeket Kínából bent. Nézzed be, azt a fékerek! 2 féker egymás mellett! Vagy ez most csúnya volt?
To jump in because I was talking about this beforehand, is the fact that there's this talk that goes around whenever we talk about like sparking and how there's the day 3 falter or the inability to finally close it out. I know that this is something that looms on a lot of these players' minds, and a 0-point game starting makes this mental warfare. This is going to be all about can you rally and
ez a srác egyébként a dánoknál, nem tudom, hogy hívják, de tipikusan úgy néz ki, mint aki LOL-ba szétbassza a billentyűzetét.
Do you have a take, Mark?
Yeah, no, I can only add to it, and it's such a big thing. It's the mental game. You're in the lead, right? And we see this a lot, especially when we do PC and PIS. Teams start looking backwards, and actually the point gaps get closed.
Ahogy az király az eledes izé PUBG
need a complete reset and the ability to go, actually, do you know what? Let's not worry about the teams behind us. Let's focus on actually the game that's ahead. And what worries me, a donut, the worst.
A brazilok mikor lettek egyébként a izé gaming iparban ennyire izék jelképesek és konkrétan mindenki is gamer. De hogy minden játékban a brazilok óriásit mennek. Az megvan a délkorai válogatott felkészülési meccsen, felcserélte az messzámokat, mert azt mondták, hogy így nem fogják tudni, hogy ki kicsoda náluk, és nem fognak tudni felkészülni rendesen belőlük. Wow. Mordekaiser megjelenése óta?
Neutral as well, who have all previously, historically, been able to fight back against adversity. I think it will be hard to hold on to that number one now.
It'll be hard, but I think it is a bit of a benefit compared to like a PGS or a PGC where you're playing against seasoned teams. I think it's fine. The thing about a PG or PNC is if you've got a 20-point lead and you drop a donut, you never know what team's going to get that chicken dinner, so you've still got a really strong position with 4 games left.
De hogy náluk itt tök átlagos így a gémelés meg minden. Tehát hogy konkrétan kurva jók minden gémben, így mint csapat is. Meg így úgy érzem, hogy náluk így a gémelés az ilyen top tier dolog. Nem tudom, hogy a fociban még ott vannak el, de gondolom.
I mean, come on, Trimsy, kick it off. Get some more out of it because we're going to Miramar. You guys love it there.
Yes, they do. All right, let's do it then. It's going to be game of the day. Game 12. There's only 4 remaining here.
Let's go!
Miramart
annyira nem szeretem én. Milyen mapok lesznek még? Van egy ilyen kis cheat sheeten megnyitva amúgy a másik monitoron. Ezután most lesz egy Miramar, utána Tego, utána Rondó, lesz Rondó! Wow, arra is kíváncsi vagyok. Aztán a végén lesz még egy Erangel. És amúgy az első helyezett $130,000 nyer. Második $56,000. Mennyi $130,000? 130,000 USD. Ez 4 millió forint. Egyre írtam. 40.
Because of the new changes we've made to the zone timings, that a lot of teams, even if their primary and
40 millió az, 43, hát 40-43 millió, attól függ középárfolyamban, hogy kell számolni most. Csak beírtam Google-be. 40 misi bazzeg, azért az fejenként 10 misi. Gyorsan lenne új autó. Na jó, nem. Kivételesen nem vennék autót.
And before we crown ourselves a PNC champion, Denmark though picks the first win for the day.
Yeah, Denmark.
Ahogy az durva, egy 9-esen volt, nem tudná belőle venni. Legolcsóbb, amit láttam, azon, hogy 17 misi volt.
There's still maybe 4 or 5 teams that have a really good chance of winning this event if Brazil could be slowed down.
Autoscouton van egyébként jelenleg általában mindig.
You heard the crowd. I'm not going to say what you think. I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say. I know what you think I'm going to say. What I'm actually going to say is
És ez is ilyen izé behozós autó, ugye? 54,000 euró. Meg 65,000 euró. Van 37,000 euróért is, de az egy kombi, az ki a faszom vesz olyat, undorító. 54,000 euró. 54,000 euró. Ez 19 misi.
Don't think about it yet. You know, if you don't think about it, it'll happen. If you focus too much on it, you'll ruin the whole game. One thing I want to point out is last time we were in and around this section of the map, it was a Brazil victory where
megnézem itt magyar színekben az OG Flank teamet, amikor fénykorukat élték, de szép idők voltak. Hát igen, meg ugye volt egy beugró játékos, amikor a key rekordot döntötték.
Sleeping seems to be the fun facts of these players.
Kick snores Shrimsy talks in his
Csak
sleep.
mondom.
Tigger is really loud in his sleep. Are all of these players just like really bad to share a room with?
Just saying.
They're playing a lot of PUBG, that's all. They finish PUBG, they have to sleep, they reset, they go again.
Úristen, az OG csapat.
Well, that is going to be Team Brazil. They did drop the donut, unfortunately, for game number 1.
Ponti Foda Dénes
So again,
csapat.
they have to, as we say, get over that mental. They're a little bit late on the flight path, so Gibson, they're going to have not as much time as you allude, but they do have an opening. That whole north-east side
de jó
of the
volt
zone,
bazeg
if they want to
Dénessel,
rotate
bazeg
around towards
hajnalán keltünk, azt ment a
okay
PUBG
at the
bazeg
moment,
duóba.
but it's down to timing.
That's the rotate they're going
Úgy szerezte meg a partnerséget
Brazil,
Twitch-en, ugye.
the
Szia Frika
players
Zoli.
been around long enough. They're going to take that rotate over
Még
onto
akkor
the
Céci volt, és
coastline,
ő
work their way
írt rám,
into the
hogy
circle from there. It's the smart
ezek mi
move
lenne,
in
ha.
a circle like this.
Mondom,
Like,
na
you can see
let's
teams
go.
like Vietnam are thinking something similar. I'm looking at Germany.
Hát
though.
volt a
Like,
Ram
you think about the
Royale,
positions that Germany
volt
can rotate
a
in from. The UK and the Philippines are likely
Ringo
already going to be
Feliciummal
in a
is
good position to
játszottunk
catch
amúgy, de
anybody making a
nyilván
pass
azzal
up
annyira
that
nem
southern road.
sokat. Nyilván akkoriban, amikor még így együtt voltunk, így csapatként, akkor így nagyon sok volt, meg akkor élte így az arany korszakát a Battle Royale.
Lou default into the play to try and find a home, and he's found a potential with Ukraine there. I also do like this, what we're seeing from Team USA. They've gone for a 2-2 split. Two have taken the emergency pickup. They're going to try and get to the high ground.
Volt még valami Battle Royale, amit játszottunk egyébként.
I like the move from USA, and they've been on the come up this last.
Ez a reload per switch spam, amit látunk, érdemelni, hogy csak bétanak ki hallja.
If they could get a few points in this one and maybe even get that chicken dinner, they have
azért teszik el a fegyvert, nem reload per switch, ez csak betöltöd és elteszi a fegyvert. Azért mert gyorsabban futsz, hogyha nincs rá semmi. A Csabistó elklip, amikor azt a kurva milyen gyorsan repülök a lootra. Hopp, egy kis háborús bűncselekmény. Tudtam, az volt egyébként a ejtőernyős katonákra lőni, nem? Hogy csak azt egyébként fel kellene éleszteni őket, nem is értem egyébként, hogy miért lőtték le. Azért, hogyha az Overwatch-ot fel tudták kapni, akkor a Honchot miért nem tudják? Overwatch-ot azért mióta Xbox-nál van a Blizzard, meg a Activision Blizzard, ugye? És ott azért jönnek ki folyamatosan a pályák, jönnek az új karakterek, jönnek az új skillek, és mindegyik kurva fan. Nem értem, hogy a Honchot miért nem lehet ezt ugyanazt megcsinálni. Nincsenek már ott az eredeti emberek, akik csinálták, és nem tudják, hogy kellene.
Maybe that's how the comms went that time around, but let's have a look at it. You can see the
de ez minden Blizzard játékra igaz, Kessler, az a baj. Nem tudsz kiemelni egyet. Konkrétan az összes Blizzard játékra igaz. Kivéve talán a WoW-ot, bazzeg, de a WoW-nak meg akkora bázisa van, hogy igazából ott minden, mert úgyis marad olyan játékos. Én azt tudom elképzelni, igen, hogy a Hotchnál, ugye a fejlesztő csapatok, akik ott voltak és csinálták a játékot, azok már így nincsenek ott, és akik maradtak újak, azok meg már nem értenek ahhoz, hogy kellene ebből bármit csinálni. Hát jó, de mondom, ott akkora bázis van, hogy az meg fog maradni. Az Overwatch-ot is egyébként ugye a brazilok, a spanyolok, nem is tudom, kik tartották még így életben nagyon durván, de hogy nekik megérte még úgymond így ráfeküdni a játékra, és onnantól kezdve azért most már mindenki is játszik meg.
They're kind of leapfrogging their way into the zone. They're making sure they don't get caught out on rotate.
Nagy volt az ellenállás tiltakozás, a Blizzard vs. Dota történetnél. Erősen
kétlen. That circle caused havoc, so I don't feel like they're going to be too upset about that previous game, but Brazil's got to be really careful here in Myanmar.
Az óvó nemzeteknél nem tudom, hogy mennyire nem nagyot. A spanyoloknál iszonyatos nagyot, meg a braziloknál is.
It's been the map of choice. I feel for the PUBG gods. Finland, long rotation round, they go.
Hát a Diablo Immortal az végtelen pénzt fog kitermelni. Tehát a kettő közül kell választani, akkor nyilván a Hotchot fogják lelőni. A Diablo Immortal az így insane mennyiségű pénz. Az egy Groza Kínánál.
But he's got to be careful, and he has to consolidate down pretty quickly. But the rest of China coming for the reinforcements.
Yeah, the tires were popped, but thank you for Tian. He could just put that Bronco into reverse, go back down the hill, and rejoin the rest of the team. But maybe an opportunity missed there by Thailand. I think the problem for Kiss was all he had was a gas can and an AUG. Didn't really have a DMR or a sniper that he could pile on the pressure as we Keep an eye on Denmark, who've got Korea not too far away. I think they spotted neutral.
Egyszer egy jó összefoglaló videót láttam, hogy a legnagyobb probléma az volt a hodcsal, amit óvővel is elbasztak, hogy elkezdett szépen alulról szerveződni, de ők nem azt akarták megvárni. Rántettek egy valami világi pénzt, és csodálkoztak, hogy nem hozza vissza a mennyiséget, amit kb. Lehetetlen is lenne visszahozni. Hát ott végtelen mennyiségű pénz ment zsebekbe, de nem is az volt a legnagyobb baj. Az Overwatch-nál például az Overwatch League volt az egyik legnagyobb probléma. Hogy az akkor egy büdös nagy fasság volt, hogy arra szavak nincsenek. Miért nem gondolod, én úgy látom, hogy a Blizz játék jócskán felbaszolta a játékos közösséget már EA és Ubi szinten, csak más úton. De semmi köze a Dotának és a Hodgehoz egymáshoz. Tehát, hogy konkrétan nulla. A Hodge az egy objective-based MOBA, még a Dota az meg Dota. Icefrog meg már rég nem a Blizzardnál van, hanem 100 éve ugye a Valve-nál. És két teljesen különböző játékra alapszik. A Dota megcsinálta már a saját karaktereit, itt már nincsen itt semmilyen beef.
Yeah, but look at Denmark. Their 2-2 split's going to become a full 4. Brazil find themselves in the circle, but not too far away from SATA. You've got Ukraine closing in the position. It looks like Korea, Ukraine, and USA all kind of thinking we're going to that same compound, but Korea now in a wonderful spot, and you can hear the crowd. They're happy with that shit.
Hát szerintem ezek mentek a zsebekbe. Ezek mentek a zsebekbe, kellett Bobby Koticknak egy kiszálló, még mielőtt átadja a vezetőséget. Szokásos módon egyébként ő kurva sok pénzt kapott, a játékos, meg a játékok, meg amik jók voltak, azok mind megszokták. Ezért mondtam egyébként régebben is egyébként, hogy Bobby Kotick a legnagyobb rák, az meg az a játékos világban.
In a compound, by the way, Mark, that for years has been
called csak a PUBG. Ennyi.
It's called no win because once you park up there, your vehicles are gone, and you just kind of have to hope the circle keeps going there. But I think we'll see neutral play a 2-2 split. I think with where the other two players are, it's probably their best bets.
Turkey now arriving towards zone, but they're arriving past Spaceman. Couple of shots will go
forward. Bazzánk. Az előző kör az mondjuk kurva jó volt. Az a baj ezzel a Miramáron is egyébként kurva nagy a map, és nagyon sok helyre lehet bújni, nagyon sok a pozíció, amit fel lehet venni. És nyilván egyébként látjátok is, hogy még mindenki él amúgy. És most van a Phase 2 nyilván, hogy nem olyan vészes, de akkor is.
Manages to get inside, an opportunity missed there for Argentina, and maybe that could be a benefit for Team
Hogy álltok, Boldi?
Yeah, UK have hunkered down here as well. Philippines though finds a quick kill confirmed. Cruxy
ezt kiscreenelem és kinyomtatom picúrnak, nagyon szép.
Coastal road on the east, but Philippines have
minden faja? Jó van.
And they've actually expanded out after Vietnam gave up their split.
Kicsit azért most már izével, most már nyugi van, nem? Fáradtak vagyunk, de már látjuk a végét. Igen, erre gondoltam, ja. Jó, ki kell tartani, most már nincsen sok hátra. Ez már a célegyenes.
Yeah, they're gonna manage the amount of utility they use. And there goes one. Comarco has to wait on the outside. I actually think he might have got that in time. Wow, goes for a 4-10, takes a shot in the back and makes it just about in time.
Whoa.
Yeah, disappointing that for Team UK. They were hoping that double blue zone.
Ez is MK12-zik, de miért?
Just about got into the corner. That's got him out of trouble.
Annyira idegesít.
Sending it now to this compound that gives him a bit of control just north of center. So you've got Vietnam, Korea.
Értem a DNR-nek a izéjét, meg hogy azt még lehet azzal gyorsan lőni. Meg hogy ugye azzal lehet idézőjel hibázni. Biztos vagyok benne, hogy ők tudnak valamit, amit én nem, de nagyon nem szeretem. Ez mennyire epikusan néz ki? Azért tényleg most nézzük a izét, a térképet? Hát milyen kurva epikusan néz ki? Megy két kocsi, meg egy tank, meg még egy kocsi a mezőn. Ez kurva jól nézett ki, ez aktuális izé volt, abszolút PUBG. De hogy így, miért ilyenkor kellett? De ebből kijön ki! Azt a! Micsoda!
going to confirm out the kill. He manages to dodge the BRDM. Scap is going to jump in.
There is no way.
We've seen how BRDMs in Brazil go together. Sparking falls at the hands of Scap. They've got one kill. A few have been stolen away here, which ain't good for Brazil.
Egyedül maradva azért le kéne lépnie.
And their rotates have been ruined.
Yeah, they're down to 2. They might turn around.
Úgy mindenki nagyon sokat vesztett be az emberből. Bedobta, nem? Pont becsukta az ajtót! Úristen, az a gyerek, az egy állat!
This is Brazil's spot now for the rest of the game.
Nem tud elmenni, mert nagyon-nagyon lovon van a kocsi, biztos kirobbantanák alóla, azért nem megy el.
Yes, close them in, lock Brazil out, Scappy, full reverse, and don't let them
Nem mondod, hogy azt fogja csinálni. Azt hittem, hogy azt csinálja, amit a kommentátorok mondtak, hogy betolat a izé elé, a shed elé. És ott felrobban, akkor nem tudnak kijönni. Nem mondod. Ez a csávó, ez egy állat. És az argentinok is lövik az egy hátba.
He'll abuse it as the Kraken knows that he can't have that reverse up on him. Scappy repositioned though, launches the grenade out, has to try and close that door.
Az bement az a lény?
BRDM, the opportunity now
Nem,
gone.
az mellé ment.
1 versus 2, more utility going, but it's an exchange.
Ne!
Will come through.
Oh my, what is it about these Shacks just not being able to get nades in the front door as BL's going to play in the dip at the
Hogy izgulhat a srác amúgy, bazzik, mindenhonnan lövik. Összes társa meghalt. Egyedül baszott le, bazzik, gyakorlatilag 2 ember. Két rotálás között, bazzik, összeütköztek, nagyon komoly. Ki fog látszani a lába, hogyha tovább megyek, akkor kilátszik a lába.
Goes over towards the top though. Scabby has to come underneath, but Vietnam now getting involved as Tambu hits a shot.
Yeah, another nade thrown this time by BL and Scappy just
lelokkolták a másikat. Az amerikaiak is, az argentinok is, meg a vietnámok is nyomják ezek hátba.
Still trying to hold them back. This is getting really sweaty for Brazil.
They're going for a full send. They're going to go to the base of this mountain, waiting for the zone to shift over. Korea leaving their compound. The zone is going to shift.
Nincs több négyje. Nincs több négyje, bazzeg.
Take the diversion. Now they go head to head potentially with Korea.
Bazzeg! A TPP-t kihasználva, bazzeg, látta, hogy elkezd útolni, kilátszott a lába a füst alatt. Áj, a Scrappy az úgy, édes Istenem, az tapsolt. Ez mit ment az a gyerek, Gerő?
You have to play safe at the moment.
Azt a kurva.
Defined safety.
Ez nagyon komolyan nézett ki. Két rotáló csapat gyakorlatilag összeütközött, és abból lett egy ilyen óriási ízé leszámolás. A braziloknál is csak túlért, feltett a szedületet, felszett a társát, ketten vannak.
17 points the gap now, so the gap between first and second is the same as it was in the beginning of day 2, the smallest gap Brazil had since then. Kraken giving up inside the compound. Look, they have
körbe benne vannak, azt kellene megnézni, azt nem látom, de szerintem benne vannak, mert nem látom a kis mapon a
do you play the two players a little bit isolated from each other and hope that if one's knocked you can play a trade, or
és bazdmeg, a csávó amúgy, ez a Scrappy, ez óriásit ment, és ők estek ki elsőként így is. És phase 4 van amúgy. Phase 4 azért már az nem olyan nagy kör.
USA know exactly where they are. Korea's not going to leave their compound, so it's going to be down to these teams look on the outside crashing in. We've got the Philippines looking to try and move here. We've still got Turkey and China to move. The only thing for me, if Turkey obviously gets to the high ground, they'll be able to look down and cause chaos. Michael, though, does open things up, but that's coming from Impala.
Yeah, he's way too far away to take advantage, so you'd imagine Brazil will get the res off again, and I think that's exactly what is going to happen. A drop landing between the Philippines and the US is a bit of a bait here, and you can see Kurt's thinking about it, but the helmet is down to just 1 shot, so he's got to be really careful.
Maybe say that's
while all this has been going on, while everyone's distracted, Turkey, they're going to try to wrap in behind Team UK.
Yeah, Turkey didn't take the emergency pickup, so...
Ez nem adok az a kettő volt, utána a osztárból volt a nap, pont abból az elején volt a bal irányra a Dota verziójából sokan a karakter. 5 hetét múlt a lekezdésnek a Rio.
Capitán, that's fine one, and a confirmation as well, so again, Argentina looking to climb towards that second place, you said.
13 points off second now.
De oké, de tudod, ez tudod mikori dolog ez? Ez Warcraft 3-as.
A little foothold inside Impala, it's going to get very hard for them in a few months when they have to leave because China, Argentina, UK, Turkey, Philippines, maybe even the US will find themselves evicted from the next circle if it goes north at all. T-Bone steps up and down goes Marco.
Yeah, they have to now defend. They're not getting any pressure left or right, so they can actually hold out Turkey now. So I think launches the grenade over the top, give maybe a bit of breathing room to get that res back on. Zone has to disengage. He's received some damage. Zone is about to shift. And Turkey, there's a confirmation code. Marco does go down. Oh, huge nade comes in. And it's not going to be the case. Zone shift. Oh my God. It goes west. We leave all of the hard cover behind. And we're a full open terrain here for game number 2.
That's brilliant news for Korea, though, and it's really bad news for Brazil because all these teams in Impala might now be looking at that position as somewhere they can go for. Philippines are going to play for the shack. Now, that's one position of power gone. You might see Argentina try to contest them, but if I'm Brazil, I actually don't like that circle because it brings all of Impala towards you.
They have to flex their out now. They have to puff up these feathers for Brazil and stop any migration their way. 2 has to become 22. DraftKings finds not just 1 and 2 himself. They are going to flex into this position here. Grenade was ready, but takes the opportunity now just to get a med as he's got a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, don't let Philippines regroup, though. They've got the knocks. You know that they're regrouping at this point in time, so make sure they don't get bodies back up. That nade could be perfect. It goes, and down go the Philippines. Argentina go up to 5 kills, and we'll see Vard fall to hands.
Vex looking to try and get that res time. Is ticking. Third party is coming in long distance, but Vex should be able to get that res for Team UK.
Yeah, Argentina now, they've got a foothold inside the circle. China are trying to ride that busted Murado inside the circle. Bopped tires. They just about managed to find a spot, but they're within utility throwing distance of Ukraine.
Hány kereke hiányzik annak a kocsinak? 2 legalább?
To the rest of the team.
Yeah, they're keeping this 2-2 splits. They've seen their car underneath them. They've got to be careful. If they pop out over the top, they might get punished. Could be down towards time. Vietnam, oh my God, the opportunity to take on Brazil. A Shrimsy with the M249 destroys.
A nagy papival, bazzeg, az abcsőcskös.
Teams left alive now as Team UK park up really close to Brazil, who've used almost all of their util. This is the problem.
Igen, a braziloknak semmi utilityük nem maradt, bazzeg. Itt all-in-elni kellett erre a TIE Fight-ra. Érted? Star Wars referencia. Lehet, hogy a kérdés, a magyarok miért nincsenek, nem jutottak ki.
They have plenty to work with. Vietnam no more though. 13th place
Gondolom
for
én.
Brazil.
Biztos vagyok benne, hogy volt qualifier. Boldi?
Doesn't come over the top and have a look. Team UK down bodies now. There's only T-Bone and Fex remains. T-Bone is in the zone.
Muszáj valamit csinálni a braziloknak, mert semmi utilityük nem maradt amúgy.
A big run for the final player of Team UK.
Tényleg van itt ilyen izé is, most már van bunker Milaváron, baszki, azt végig egyszerűen tudjuk találni.
Your lobby leaders still just hanging on, hoping to make it inside that top end. I think USA will make that move, and here we go.
Az mi néd?
Challenged by the US.
They know exactly where they are. They put one down. They lose one on the push forward. They don't know there's a split. Oh my God! Sagrakan finds Shrimsy. The spray comes across.
Jézusom.
The Morty pretty much just too short, and for Brazil, they're down to a solo player.
An extra point for Korea as that kill is going to get confirmed on the Shrimsy. For the US, this is not looking good right now. They need to deal with Kraken. They're throwing utility.
Jaj, bász meg hány helyről lőtték csodó. Viszont a finnek megoldják. Az a név, az meg. Azt hittem ráesik a izé a takó.
The line of the rotation. It just didn't work for them. So Krakeno has to try and use anything he can just to divert the delay. Anything on Team USA. Argentina store in zone. Shift down towards the south, so he still remains in the game.
Yeah, but look at this. The circle's going to force them towards Brazil again because the US are no longer there. That nade's going to bounce the wrong way, and that Dorito will flip over, revealing Kraken's position.
Egy jó nédet kap és gatya.
Can he survive out 3 more teams? There's every possibility, Mark, when you look at where everyone else is in Korea also find themselves outside the circle.
És az FPP között váltogatni? A versenyek TPP-ben vannak.
He knows he's got teams around him. He knows
Germany's
over the top towards him, and Argentina obviously there, but he's able to sort of
az a baj ezzel, hogyha kimegy onnan, azt megpróbálja lefájtolni. Hátba lőtték a finnek az egyik amerikait. Most kell menni. Áj, bazzeg! A grid! A grid! Lövés után neki vissza kell menni a faszba.
Bad news. You can see the Korean fans not happy with that Brazil securing 4 points, just getting that gap up to 19. Korea have done nothing all map long, but now all of a sudden they're moving towards Indonesia. Can Korea or neutral or Argentina take advantage?
Tudják várni, hogy egy amerikai marad?
W key down now. Team USA going to be back. He moves right, but he clicks completely dry. Nothing left in the tank. Purdy is out.
Argentina, 8 kills, 4 players alive. Neutral, 4 players are alive. Korea, 4 players alive. All these teams can really make big moves here. Indonesia, though, holding the line, but Korea, they're going to lose that Panzer as the initiator.
They are. It's going to be an explosive entry point for them. Blue zone.
Koreának kell killeket szerezniük, mert most egyelőre nem igazán tudtak sehol semmi.
Wait for the blue just to come down. Grenade goes up to the top room on both sides. So from the guys, now they're going to work their way down. Indonesia 3-1 split. Is the solo going to cause the damage?
Yeah, Queen's on the outside looking to hold the front door while the rest of the players hold inside, but that Panzer of Heathers could be trouble for Indonesia. Korea trying to force their way closer. They don't have BZ nades, so they can't force them any further away. And look at this, Indonesia have got SMGs and shotguns as well because of how valuable they are at close range.
Well, we're now in the point as we are Team UK taking 9 players. People does find Saturday that fight will work its way around the high ground here, but we'll stay with this. Indonesia will hold up. It looks like the grenade opens up though. Heather will fall down.
Vissza! 3v3.
Who puts Queen down on the outside.
Ez borzasztó rossz face 6 kört, nagyon csíp. Az egy buzi közelre. Menniük kell azért mindenkinek, az a baj. Aj, Korea nagyon rossz helyen van, bassza meg. Aj, és a izés a konnektel.
Indonesia are down bodies, but in the blue zone, South Korea, the same, down to a solo player. Does able to get the med back on in time, but again, the zone shifts away from the compound.
Phase 7 és 2v.
The bodies back towards the zone, but Lee varies up on the high ground.
2v2, though this could be massive when it comes to who wins this PSC.
Kifogni ebbe emberem! De Sotival! Úristen, a levágott csövű Soti! És felszedi a társát is!
Neutral's coming on the other side. They know close the gap. They gotta do it quickly. Grenade comes in. They don't find it. Aries knows exactly where they are. Neutral though looking to peek overhead. Lou has seen the 2 heads.
De nem mer kinézni, Lér megoldja.
And South Korea will go down. 6 plays for them. And for Neutral though, a great take for that victory.
Game on, hunt on, Neutral and Argentina now both have Korea in their sights.
Látta őket, bazzeg pont.
But he gets that knock on to Justice. Levante will try get back up on his feet, but the blue zone will start closing soon. That nade is good. Germany, they're struggling. Justice about to fall, pains the same. Argentina, 12 kills.
Szerintem, hogyha kimondják egyszer is a izét a oroszok, akkor ott Big Binti van nekik, úgyhogy szerintem azért... Azért még majdnem megölte az utolsó embert is. Hát muszáj, hogy valahogy átszellemüljön, mert gondolom óriási pénzmegvonás. Az ilyen nem játék.
There's still more kills to come. Chris has abandoned this fight. He's left his teammate all to himself. Ukraine getting held back by DraftKings, who still has rounds to work with as well. But Ukraine got to be so careful because Argentina, they are
dobnak a tetejére.
They are on a tear and they've got that little bit of high ground and they control so much of the zone out on the east now. The remaining team there, Lou takes some damage, has to take a little bit of a breather. Now the first aid back on and DraftKings can still go to work. Even if he doesn't get the knock, he's getting so much information that he can give to the rest of the team.
Another a doozy of a nade there. This one landing on top of Boostic in the stun grenade.
Nem látja a blue zone.
Bad for Ukraine.
Nem látja a blue zone.
Tossed on and they gotta get out of there. Get out of dodge because Neutral are coming for your heads. You can see a doozy will confirm out that kill. Jawu the other, and Ukraine are stumbling out.
They are stumbling out and they're surviving somehow. Neutral needs to keep the point average up if they want to close down on Brazil and Korea. For now, they are on 3, down to 2 players. Ukraine falling down. Ferris gonna crawl his way around, try and get the information. As Diffix has to keep an eye on Xiaowu, but he'd be interested to sort of spin around and cause damage back towards Team Neutral.
Yeah, you can see Neutral trying to confirm out this kill, but Fair's
nem tudják egyébként, ilyen nem tudják, hogy az ukrán játékos jobbra van.
Jiawu will confirm that kill. As we got 5 teams left alive.
Nagyon jó ütembe jön! Nagyon jó ütembe jöhet meg! Ne, a fű! Bazzeg! Bazzeg, de jó ütembe indult el, pedig azt a kurva, még a flash is jó volt.
Find that position, they find most of the zone, down to a top 4, and Argentina full control now, solo survive out the run, the corner, that's in the field. They're looking for a few more to try and close this one out.
Ja. DPS miért nyerte amúgy, igen.
Argentina so tight together.
Tud látta egyébként, de nagyon jó ütemben mozgott.
It looks like they're going to do into.
Argentina még mindig 4 emberrel, azt a mindenit. Kinek kiesett? Visszék. 4v2v2.
Yeah, he's on the blue bush as well. They're looking to try and take the fight. Argentina going for a 2-2 split. Chris keeping his head down because now we want second place. For Team Neutral though, they sit just on the outside edge of this sort of south to southwest side. The hillside will keep him in play at the moment.
Nem tudod kiérni már. Nem tudod hova menni szerintem. Tudta, hogy le van tartva. Chris megint beásta magát. Ez a pali bazzeg, ez a PUBG Minecraft játszom, az meg esküszöm. Óriási. Ne! Pedig lelokkolta az egyiket. 4v1 így. És tudják-e? Tudják. Szép. Szegény kis csaj háttérben. Biztos, hogy kurva jött ordítottak.
What a climb to victory. Let's bring back though James and Matrim. Welcome back guys. Argentina all the way.
Szép! Ez kurva egy káosz volt. Szegény csaj, bazzeg.
You may as well consider them winning the tournament with that kind of reaction. But they know what this means, right? Them jumping back up into what is effectively now second place here. After the start of day 2 match.
Igen, 2 centiről argentin csata kiáltás. Na, menjen a sorsolás, srácok, jó? De figyeljetek, mondom a neveket. Első nyertes. Thor, nagyon szép, a szabban együtt egy G-coin nyerés. Következő, Jormungand, nagyon szép nyerés. Sasha, aztán is mondta, hogy el is megy, de mindegy, csak visszaért, majd elküldjük neki valahogy. Berta, nagyon nagy, és az utolsó pedig Evil Snail. Szerintem ez így 5, ugye? Akik nyertek, gyerekek, légy szíves, írjatok rám, vagy Discordon, vagy Twitchen, és küldöm a kódokat, jó? És akkor csinálunk egy új giveaway.
I'm gonna read out word for word what Capitan said. Yesterday was a bad day. I know our weaknesses now. We're going to destroy the lobby today. We're going to get second place at least. And you know what? Is there anything better than seeing a player back up their words?
Yeah.
Jó, a következő kódok, következő ugyanúgy ezres G-coinok, turrancsuk, itt a kód. Jó. Nézem egyébként közben, hogy írtatok el. Berta.
Yeah, Brazil got caught early. Obviously, unfortunate for them, they run into Thailand at the wrong time. That BRDM kept Scappy in play, but as soon as that kind of firework kicked off, Team USA got involved, and you're right, only 4.
Ugyanúgy 1000 G-coint lehet nyerni, ugyanúgy egy ilyen jó 15 000 forint kerül most kiosztásra. A PUBG-nak a jó voltából gyakorlatilag, úgyhogy igen. Utána lesz még kód, utána lesz még 2000-es G-coin kódok, 2, 4, 5 darab ugyanúgy. Azt majd lehet, hogy kicsit visszafogottabb ütembe csináljuk majd. Jó, Zsormungát, küldöm a kódot neked is. Bertának elküldtem. Jó, és akkor lehet megint jelentkezni a következőre. Yes, ezután még 3 kör van, igen, 4-20. 3 map van, ezután fog jönni most... ezután Tégó lesz, és utána Rondó. Amúgy mind a 2 mapra nagyon kíváncsi vagyok, mind a 2 mapot így... nem tudom, szeretem az újdonságokat, és kíváncsi vagyok, hogy ez milyen lesz amúgy. Profiba, meg TPP-be.
26 points here for Argentina, jumping massively at the start here of day number 3 of PNC 2026. 10 points for neutral as well. Again, I think that everybody's eyes really were on South Korea, how they will play out that compound Gibson, but
Evilsnél 90 és Sasa, valamint Thor nem írtak még. De majd írtok, amikor gondoljátok. Jó.
They've not taken advantage at all. They've only gone to 91 points. Brazil have a 10-point lead now.
Azt hiszem most lesz egyébként egy szünet talán, de nem vagyok benne teljesen biztos. Ezt még gyorsan megnézem. Azt még gyorsan megnézem, hogy az a szünet az mikor lesz.
Friendship ended with Argentina. I guess Korea is now my new best friend.
Love that from Pippa there, putting the flag on out as well towards this. They've done DraftKings dirty there.
Írtak valamit, hogy azt nem lehet hangot ráhozni, mert hogy copyrightos.
Hey guys, a win is a win. He got 6 kills, he almost did 1000 damage as well alongside Capitan. Fantastic stuff from them.
After match 2. Please note the halftime performance schedule for the finals. Each will take place after match 2. Úgyhogy elvileg most lesz valami halftime cucc. Köszi Bedrock a raidet. Yes, úgyhogy lesz valami halftime cuccos.
Yeah, look, well played from me. I can't unsee that now. Look, they're now in second. That victory meant a lot to them. And we talk about PUBG.
Bazzeg argentinok egyébként úristen mit mentek amúgy itt is. Az nagyon jó volt. De a tájgyereknek bazzeg a fightja a brazilokkal, az kurva kemény volt.
First place MVP and you're in second. It's only 10 points now. A win for this team will put him back on top.
I'm such a doomsayer. I'm like ringing the bell, holding the sign outside, being like, it's. But I don't know whether I don't think.
Ja, 4 kill, amiről lemaradtam. Azt nem láttam. A finneknek a gizégránátját láttam, az is kurva kemény volt. A dánokra.
The only thing that's doing them a lot of benefit is the fact that it's everyone scrapping with each other below. Like Argentina have put themselves into the fray, but it was a 20-point gap. It's a 10-point gap.
1-4-3 kill volt? Valahol a házakban volt, azt láttam. Sámikám, nagyon szépen köszi a 71. hónapot, köszönöm szépen, papám. Na igen, ezt le kell némítanom sajnos. Úgyhogy ezt némítva nézzük. Ez a halftime show, meg gondolom van valami copyrightos zene. Bedrock! Tier 3-as 4. hónap, let's go, papám! Nagyon szép. Nagyon szép, köszönöm szépen, bazzeg. Úgyhogy igen, ezután lesz még akkor ugye, mondom, akkor jön Tégó. Egy nagyjából 2,5 perc múlva, legalábbis azt írja itt a cheat sheetem. Aztán utána lesz a Rondó, és akkor a végén pedig lesz egy Erangel a legvégére, és az utolsó kör. Killleadernek is van egyébként pénznyeremény, meg az MVP-nek is egyébként, akit gondolom megszavaznak majd, hogy ki lesz az MVP, vagy nem tudom mi alapján csinálják, vagy legtöbb damage. Ó, gondolom K-pop amúgy. Valami K-pop lesz, de én ezzel nem értek. Egyébként egész sok díjazás van. Még konkrétan a 17-től a 24-ig játék, vagy a csapatig mindenki kapott $5000, de gondolom ők kiestek. Ausztrália, Malázia, Kazaksztán, Taipei, Norvégia, Japán, India, Kanada, és mindegyik kapott egyébként $5000 17-től 24. helyig. De ők már nincsenek itt a Grand Finalbe szerintem. Hát... Csajok azért megvannak. Persze papám, én már végeztem. Itt az asztal alatt. Az a baj, nem adhatok rá hangot. De komoly kis gárék. Meg azt nézem, hogy azért valószínűleg első 4 hely, $130,000, $56,000, $22,000, $20,000, és még utána is kap azért mindenki. Hogy nem jutottunk ki ide? Énekeljek nektek helyette? Valami jó magyar klasszikus kellene. Mi legyen az? Által mennék én a Tiszán, Ladikon, de Ladikon! Ott lakik a galambom, de galambom! Szerintem ez ugyanolyan lehetett. Madárka, madárka. Na mindegy. Én megpróbáltam. Szavát, nagyon szépen köszi a 61. hónapot, köszi szépen, papeszítom. Komoly performance volt egyébként. Most már úgy lehet ráadni ezt a hangot szerintetek? Ja, csak én nem kapok havi 1 milliót a semmire. Mondjuk most már ő se. Munkavállaló Tóth Gabi. Fasz kurva. Nincsen hang, tudom. Imádom. Imádom. Annyira szeretem. Jaj, ne, merül a fülesem. Nem intermodul magyar remélemnek majd melóznia kell. Annak a kurvának szerintem bazdmeg soha nem kell majd melóznia, bazd meg. Az megoldja valahol, ez olyan, mint egy csótány. Túlél mindent. Írt a Sasa is. Ugye elküldöm Sasa neked is a kódot akkor. Várjatok. De kuku nincs hang, de kuku még nincs hang. Morgó! Nagyon szépen köszi a 3. hónapot! Kösz szépen! 4-5! Szerintem ez már a halftime show vége volt, ugye? Hopp, nem, még nem. Not yet. De milyen jó izé van, bazzeg, milyen jó díszlet is van hozzá, kurva jó. Nagyon menci-manci. Szerintem bazzeg mondom, tehát ahogy a sima PUBG-ból nem is kapnak annyi pénzt, de ugye már alapból a licenszjogok miatt megéri fenntartani legalább a PC-s változatot, meg hát nyilván az e-sport eseményt kurva sokan nézik, meg nagyon sokan játsszák egyébként a PC-s változatot is, ugye? De hogy a PUBG mobil mennyi pénzt termelhet, az valami insane. És csak abból egyébként, hogy megvették a licenszeket ugye a Green haverunktól. És kialakult ugye a maga a játék, mondom, és onnantól kezdve csak a névvel azért megcsinálták a PUBG mobilt, és ott már azt csináltak, amit akartak. A C-pop az kicsit furcsán hangzik egyébként, én nem akarok még durranni. Hát én a PUBG Lite-tal szerintem nagyon-nagyon keveset játszottam. Volt fekete rózsaszín kollab, volt bizony. Az Pixen volt. Arra emlékszem. C-pop az nem az igazi zene? Amúgy te. Majd a Lakatos Brandonhoz megyünk késelési tanácsok. Ó, Istenem, nem értem egyébként, hogy miért kell felkapni az ilyen embereket amúgy. Félreértés. Ja. Félreértés. Ja. Csak nézd meg, az átlag nézőt az ilyeneknek több foguk van, mint iskolájuk. Amúgy azt hinnéd, hogy igen, de nem, bazd meg. Azt hinnéd, hogy igen. Hang nincs. Akkor elmondom még egyszer. Halftime show, mondták a szervezők, hogy akik co-streamelik, azok vegyék le a hangot, mert ez copyrightos, és nem akarják, hogy bekerüljön streambe. És hogy nekünk probléma legyen. Hogy le kell vennünk a halftime show alatt a hangot. Igen, TikTokon egy univerzum. Egy univerzumos annak van hang. Vagy egy tier 3-as szab. Valamelyik nap a TikTok feldobott egy interjút Brandonnal, előadta azt, hogy az ő ott késlántott és beleesett a tag, az baleset volt, ma már másképp cselekedett volna. Hát papám, én ezt nem hiszem el. De mindegy. Ezek olyan arányosak amúgy ezek az izék, a csajok. TikTokon a giftekből 40%-ot kap a kreátor? De hol? Mert az is régiókra van osztva szerintem. Ja, most szabadult. Tádeusz, basszeg. Nekik jó. Tehát nekik van joguk hozzá. A co-streamereknek nincs. Tehát, hogy riportolhatod, de nem hiszem, hogy lesz belőle bármi. Nincs értelme túl sok. Ennek mi köze volt a PUBG-hoz? Rengeteg K-pop banda kollabol a PUBG-val. És csinálnak zenét a PUBG-nek egyszer-kétszer, úgyhogy az a köze hozzá. Úristen, az a lilla létezik még. Jézus ereje. Hát én nem tudom melyik karaktermodellt nézett Tihany, de a PUBG skinek azok olyanok, mint a LoL-ban a splash artok. Hogy a képen nagyon jól néz ki, aztán meg a karakterre, hogyha felveszed, akkor meg így... Persze vannak jók egyébként ettől függetlenül, de... Pont azon csodálkozok, hogy téged erre kényszerítenek, vagy mi a szösz. Nem, ezt úgy hívják, hogy pénz. Majkától tudnék idézni, az anyámat, de szeretem a pénzt. De amúgy nem, igazából élvezem is, úgyhogy tök jó. Ahogy aktuálisan jó nézni a profikat. Nyilván nekem végtelen játékot kell streamelni, meg játszizni, de hogyha annak ilyen lehetőség, akkor nagyon szívesen élek velük. Azért már nem mennie kéne a harmadik versenynek, mert amúgy a izé szerint már megy. Well, never mind. Szerintem, hogy 5 éve nem volt annyi nézője a PUBG main channelnek, mint ma. Ez azt jelenti, hogy ez nekünk is jó amúgy, csak mondom. De hadd énekelgessenek, na hát nem el vagyunk. Melegbe itt a barátokkal, érted, iszogatunk. De amúgy az énekes csajnak nincsen ilyen kifejezetten korai arca, nem? Csak szerintem? Hát ilyen az igazi DNS profizmus. Hát a játszótéri keverékek, annál jobb nincsen. Ha valami amerikai cucc lenne, akkor sötétebb, teltkarcsú rapperek lennének meghívva, az jobb lenne? Nem biztos. A Google szerint félig kanadai. Mehet a hang? Kösz.
After Miramar, joining me Gibson as well as Mark.
Jó, akkor viszont meg vagyunk. Azért mondom, hogy nem olyan kifejezetten korai arca volt, de amúgy szép. Csinos biztos jó volt az elején, csak még nem hallottuk még a sajnos.
was a bit of a throw, a little bit of a salvation, but they clash heads with Thailand in the second. 3 games remaining, and there are technically, I'm gonna say 4 teams potentially in the running. Maybe this game Denmark enters back in or China if they have a big game, but
az egyébként, az a PUBG pen, amit kaptak, ez a ledes PUBG pen, az kurva menő. Nagyon élem. Úgy néz ki a művésznő, mint az olimpiai bajnok snowboardozó. Azt én nem tudom kicsoda. Szia Cloud! Nézd át! Aj, de komoly egyébként itt ilyen nézében átvilágítás mindenre, nagyon király. Az erősebb mit mondó volt? Hát neked! Ezek olyan, a zenei ízlés olyan, mint az összes többi. De meg a vélemények, ugye. Tia Toxic! Nem tudom, Tia, lehet.
I think they can hold
Te csak a
on, but they're
brasszilokat
going
is.
to need at least 20 points in the next 3 games, I think, to get it done. One thing I will say is for our crew, what a showing from the PAS and the PEC regions. Like,
Benito, köszönöm szépen a tagságot.
kind of dominating these lobbies.
I thought we were going full hog then. I thought it was going to be,
I stopped. I held it back. Look, you know how often you throw it back in my face with all of the, EU dominance. Let me have this one, James. Let me have this one.
I'm going to butt in because I think there is a EU store to come through. Yes, Denmark need a big game for this one, but neutral. They have the capability.
Milyen boldog nemzetben azért, milyen jó el vannak amúgy. Nálunk biztos, hogy nincsen 40 fok, meg biztos van légkondi.
If they can stay alive, if they can outperform Argentina or Brazil, we might see Team Neutral walking away.
Összegyűjtve.
that was an interesting way to describe it. The breeding.
You got every one of those players sat there is insane for Team Neutral.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. We are kind of discounting the fact though that Korea is still in the hunt, right? The fact that
az a szőke haj, az biztos, hogy nem, az ilyen Avid 2, amit festett, úgy arra gondolok.
I don't think Phil's with too much confidence about how they were going to try and deal with Indonesia and then move on into those circles. Again, it's just for Korea. If the game comes their way, Matrim, awesome stuff, no problem. They're missing some of that transition through teams being the. I mean, if you're going up against Indonesia, you should be winning. Regardless of what should be positioning disadvantage, I think.
Yeah, when you're fighting losing a team fight to the squad that's in last just doesn't feel like you're getting the right type of momentum going, to say the least. And Korea, while they're great at territory control, this is a bloodbath series. It is very, very violent.
Az a VP is milyen jó. Wow, azok a bőrs cuccok mennyire királyok. De király. Azért most eszembe egyébként a PUBG partnerségben, ugye az elején kurva sok minden milyen bőrs cuccot kaptunk. Most meg már semmi. Szomorú vagyok. Pedig ezek menő. Nem tudom, hogy hol a faszomba tenném, mert amúgy kurvára nem félek el, de... Hát na.
Denmark in 5th place at the moment with 84. China with 78, who came in today, Gibson, in a strong position to potentially strike at the position.
Igen, Jani és Pisti itt fognak beesni a plafonon keresztül. Amúgy az nagyon király volt, amúgy azt nagyon összehozták.
I'm gonna go out there and say it. I think it's gonna be Americas or Europe.
All right, well, let's do it. Let's see what it happens it's time to Tego as we've got our third game of the day.
Hát ez kétlem egyébként, a kraftodosokban nagyon jól megy. Kis sorsolat? Amúgy nagyon sok minden sorsolat egyébként. Meg a találkozóra is vittem egy-két dolgot. Majd viszek még a következőre. Érdemes eljönni találkozóra. Csak mondom. Sziasztok! Na, Tego!
These circles have been absolutely wild, and it has made for some crazy games. Great for entertainment, but makes me feel bad for the players because it has just been tooth and nail to get any form of territory in these circles.
Not been easy. Not been easy. So let's see how all of these teams are going to drop. See if there's going to be any challenges. As always, there was that Yongchan fight, but it looks like that has been gone away
Nem láttam még Tégun
from
szerintem pro meccset.
right? But the USA is not going.
Rondon viszont 100% biztos vagyok benne, hogy nem láttam egyet sem. De amúgy ez az upbeat rock zene amúgy így miért is kell? Így az ugrás? De azt mindig nem értem. Nem veszel tőle meg semmit, csak így gondolom, ura. Lehet. Közben a G-coin sorsolás egyébként megy a háttérbe, úgyhogy aki akar nyerni ezres G-coinokat, van 5 darab. Be kell írni azt, amit be kell írni, aztán mennek a kódok.
That's a wild circle for Tego.
Azt a kurva! Az mi az a kör?
Never mind what we've got here for our circles 4 and 8, so this could get rough. I think you're really on the money. I think if Brazil does not do something in this game,
ki volt a kör közepén, azt nézte valaki?
Quite literally with all the other countries like bearing down on them, right? Like this is tough. This is tough. And Argentina on the catch-up, just 10 points behind right now. Who would have thought it coming into today here that they could have a blistering 26-point game? They've looked really good through from survival stage. I wouldn't say in my mind that they were going to be one of the teams that I think to myself, yeah, no problem. They're going to be challenging for number 1, but you can't deny it now.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I had the option to go with Finland today on my fantasy squad, and I made the Finland choice. Finland's playing well, but Argentina is just massacring. I don't know what all they decided to change, but it's so much cleaner. And whenever we look at Argentina and Brazil, the play style for these guys is very hot and very, I believe that I can conquer this. It's not necessarily playing against the circles. They feel like they can just
15 kilt raktak az előzőben, 16-ot.
Like Argentina on one side of it where everything's working out and you're on your climb. You feel like you can take on anything on Brazil's side of it though.
Tehát el se kezdődött a játék.
Anything at all is Germany. Chris is gonna go down. Grexy down on the other side for Finland though.
A németek ezt most nagyon megszopják, baszki. Ez nem jó.
Scav as well as Sata here trying to do something. IEXE does shut down Ares. Seeing if they can get on the roofs as well here. Now it's Chris to be able to try and weed on out and get rid of in a compound like this.
Próbálnak egyébként minél gyorsabban rotálni egyébként a körbe szerintem, mert ők nem tudom, hogy hol voltak.
Retreating for the other two. This fight is done.
Yeah, Finland just came in with full-on gusto, and like I said, we've been talking about Argentina a lot. Finland's been having a really good day so far today for themselves as well.
Heavennek így van egy egész városa, ahogy látom.
So low, it's just how much more can they get. They've got that 8-point differential to try to catch up against Ukraine. That's a sentence I did not think that I would be saying, is that Finland's trying to catch up against Ukraine to see if they can usurp position on them.
Yep, not a problem at all, as Denmark is going to go for an emergency pickup in. But before we actually go for that, let's listen to an interview with DraftKings, who's found themselves in 2nd place.
Hello everyone, it's Bella here with Argentina's DraftKings. You said you weren't expecting an interview.
Nagyon jó angolja van egyébként a csajnak.
After such an amazing game on the day that counts the most, but we have to talk about what went down yesterday. A bit of a holdback, right? So what was the talk after day 2 for you to be making such a nice comeback today?
Hát jó, oké, csak mondom, hogy ugye...
We realized that we were like overconfident. We just like did a step back and we're playing our game now.
I mean, it is really crucial for you to keep your head calm and like keep your head cool so that you can concentrate until the last minute, right?
Bazeg, ezt nagyon rosszkor rakták be ezt az interjút, ez konkrétan itt csak akció lesz ezen a mapon most.
My bad for pulling you.
We're just happy that we won.
All right, well,
Jézus.
yeah, I mean, you definitely closed the gap, and I hope to, you know, you closing it out even more. Thank you, DraftKings. All right, bye.
Bye.
Barely DraftKings can even keep up with the bluster.
Lehet közben váltogatni, igen. Én imádom, a németek szerintem, ha jól láttam, akkor a németeket néztük amúgy. Már elkezdtek ásni. Oda nézd, ez volt az előző akció.
This is just such a dominant approach. Eyes on the circle, though. We've got Philippines
Az
are playing on
nem
the outskirts of
vicceltek,
Shipyard. We did see Denmark take that emergency pickup. They're going to be going all the way up to the northeast. Germany's had to reset away from Finland. That's put them over in the east. Neutral is approaching very close to Finland's position, while Turkey's just kind of squeeze in between Finland and Denmark. Over on the other side, on the island itself, we also do have Korea that's kind of posted up around Yeongcheon. And everybody else just kind of following their way. It looks like China and Ukraine are trying to tail in as fast as they can down the southwest. Everybody else a lot slower and rotate, though.
This can go well for Denmark if they find vehicles up here. Almost never do I come up here in Takeover at all. So I don't even know if there's vehicle spawns up there, but I do think they have found at least one or two on that corner. As now we find ourselves with Korea, who eventually... I mean, chances are these teams on that northwest island think that to themselves that they're going to have to make the cross onto the mainland eventually. And that's the more likely scenario. But I guess they might wait here just on the gamble, right? The 5% chance that it does come to this island.
Philippines only has one player kind of committed into a
Korea, ez azért nagyon komoly lenne, hogyha itthon megnyerni.
A little bit off to the side
mekkora
provide some support,
lenne.
you would have to assume that this is going to be the angle of approach that most teams might be trying to make, especially the stronger, more strategic ones, such as what Korea would be trying to do. So Philippines may be just trying to see if maybe they can net a kill here or there on an approach, not necessarily going for a full wipe on it, but if you've got Shipyard under control, the way that this circle plays, you have to understand that just over to the right.
Hát amúgy az a durva, hogy a fele a körnek, ez tényleg a vízben van, úgyhogy itt a Shipyard, bal és jobb oldala a folyónak, az amúgy prime pozinak látszik. Hát nyilván vannak azok a domborzati
Yeah, I think they're being very cautious. I think they know that there's cars ahead of them, and I think they don't want anything to do with it.
Amiket tudnak a profik, de én például
that's the problem with playing from a position like this, right? You oftentimes, what have we seen from Brazil in these past 2 days? We've seen them take some crazy fights, some early crashes, win out those fights, but now playing from the front as we go on to Indonesia versus Great Britain, Brazil is playing a little bit more timid.
A mocsárba szerintem nem is tudom mikor fightoltam így utoljára. Egy fighton volt összesen. Ott néz, az katya! Aj, mekkora név volt az
They got goals today. I don't know what's going on, but they're fighting really clean and putting in the work onto a lot of squads. Going back to your Brazil point, I 100% agree. Brazil was making games happen for them. They were a force of nature on the circles. And now it feels like they're just playing not to lose, being one of the last teams to rotate. Yeah, they were all the way across the map from the circle, but this is not my Brazil right now.
Hashtag not my Brazil.
Hashtag not my Brazil.
I think that there is a world where if this circle
Gatya az autójuk, vagy miért jön vissza?
Water going like west or something like that, this game's gonna get so fucking spicy.
Yeah.
But anyway, we will see.
Ott volt egy kis káromkodás. Ott az pénzlevonás. Urdur. Hál' Istennek itt nincs. Itt nem beszélünk csúnyán. Azta! Wow!
That is huge.
I'm not biased.
Hát ez gyerekek, ez sokkal gyorsabb kör lesz, mint gondoltam valószínűleg. Kickstarték a izébe. Kickstart nagyon nagyokat lőtt az első rangerán. Gliderbe amúgy. Rangeren is voltak nagyon komoly killek.
That means that it is going to be a firefight. 59 alive, 16 teams, Finland, as well as neutral, now bumping into each other. No options. You just got to fight, and you have to make sure you clear your backs because there are going to be people rolling up from every single angle. Neutral knows it. They're trying to make the push as fast as they can, but here comes Ukraine on the other side of neutral. Do they have a read on it? Yes, they do. They spot out, but neutral's not going to stop off here. They're going to continue on their merry way. They hear the firefight, and they're going to send it right up next to
Kerülnek is jobbra azonnal, amint hallották a lövést.
All right, let's see what they can do. Yeah, as Ukraine now moving in.
Azt mondja egyébként, hogy innen vége van, és már nem lesz probléma, de azonnal, amint megállnak, szerintem csöbörből vödörbe. Remélem, nagyon sokat fizetnek nekem? Mit számít? Én nem hisztizek. Jól érzem magam, melegbe, barátokkal. Let's go! Hát ilyet csináltam én is valamelyik nap, úgyhogy én azért ültem el. Ez nagyon satisfying egyébként az M249-en egy ilyet lőni. Viszont egyedül marad, és a társát viszont valószínűleg fel tudják szedni. Bazeg vízbe esett, az mondjuk para. Ott is fel lehet szögni, persze, csak nem para visszajönni.
Although he's being a bit more cautious about it on that eastern side at the moment.
Neked mit számít, Sifo? Te kijutottál?
Trying to make something happen for Germany, middle of the pack.
Nem azért nem jutották ki, mert TPP-ben játszák a dolgot.
And again, this is kind of the lunacy that the teams have been thrown into with the circle settings, right? I don't think, even if you'd have seen this circle before the circle settings, nobody in their right mind would have said to themselves, okay, go shipyard. There's no way he's land.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm worried on this. Where do you go? They're jumping over the cluster. This is at least a good read to get away from the death funnel. They're up and in the air. Nobody is really keeping an eye on what's going on in the skies right now. They're having to deal with closer range threats. But do they think that Shipyard's way more open than it actually is? Because it looks like they're going to pull long.
De hova fognak beesni, bazd, mert oké, hogy most mindenki arra megy, hogy hogy peresútoljanak, de hogy így konkrétan már mindenki is ott van. Hova akarnak esni? Nem mondod, hogy a külső hajóra. Az para, az nagyon rossz lehet.
This is such a bold play here. Once again, really banking on the fact
that
circles are going to be able to favor them. This is a lot of damage.
De már kiszúrták őket, viszont
from a position of crazy power potentially down the line. Trying to shoot from the high ground, but
a vietnámiaiak, ugye?
still in, but at the same time, some of that land is still in on the south side of it, with those hillsides where neutral and Ukraine have taken up land.
Itt rengetegen lesznek a shipyardon, kurva sokan.
Brazil, this is your opportunity. You're going up against Vietnam.
Az utolsó német játékos egyébként pedig az egyik kis hangárba húzza meg magát.
Brazil did manage to land, but you can see they're all stacked inside of one building. Vietnam knows it. Korea is actually not going too aggressive.
Az itt még egy, azt a mindenit. De ez meg a késő, nem? Shipyard fele fog mindenképpen egyébként a húzó.
Where do you go?
Igen, a még harcoló német katona.
So dense, densely filled with teams here. As Belmoth now taking some damage to the United States, backfilling that position on this eastern side. We've really got to keep an eye on Argentina here. If this does not
Scrappy óriásit ment az előző körben, az abszolút filmszínház volt.
Yeah, they've all committed. They're just all up in the air right now. They're presently over Turkey. Looks like they might be going opposite side. Eyes on to the northwestern section of Shipyard. It is going to be open.
Let's
trying to get that distance away from the United States. They did manage to stop off the United States for long enough. Argentina's going to be coming in. They're going to be landing right on top of where Germany's at, but that's going to put them in a crossfire. That means that Brazil and Korea can all take shots at him. Capitan is already out.
Good shots by Gumin, the rest of South Korea as well in these warehouses, trying to hold it down. Taking now moves on forwards here. Pippen does take him down though. That's a point for Argentina going their way. Scappi also down.
Egy vissza.
Kiss responds in kind. Himas from the high ground with the mini. Oh no, this is all going problems for not only Argentina, also Thailand.
És akkor Koreának még van egy BRDM-je is.
Everything's just come all apart. Did I see that on the other side of the wall? It was Korea with a BRDM. That could be massive in these later stages, especially if they've got to try to cross to get out of here.
Hát a BRDM-et nagyon durván el tudják rejteni egyébként minden házban. A csávónak egyébként egy rózsaszín balaklavája van. Vagy baklava? Hát mindig összekeverem a kettőt.
Baron gone, Thailand gone. We expected this team to have massive ramifications on the rest of the lobby. It's not really materialized just yet. As now Sparking looking for any points he can. Spark King takes down Draft King. And that is the story of the number 1 and 2 at the moment.
Azt, amiért pattant pedig. Hogy nem halt meg?
Still just staying 10 points apart. Argentina falters, so that puts up a gap of 11. Korea, though, still looming large. It feels like they've got all the utility. And remember, Korea also has been keeping an eye on what's going on down to the south.
Argentinokat kiejtették, baszki, most ez nekik izé, ez nagy szívfájdalom lesz.
Inside of this, and you're not playing in the higher sections, such as Vietnam.
Baklava a kaja, jó.
Playing the wall like Korea.
Akkor balaklava, akkor jól mondtam.
No idea what's going external from this. You don't know where any of the squads are.
Nem, van egy izé, van egy édesség.
You are blind and rotate.
Egy görög édesség talán.
Does it go south or north? Towards the bridge. That still includes a lot
megint nem
of
mehetek.
shipyard. South Korean fans are going to be watching with bated breath here as they've got a lot of control of the shipyard.
They're running right into Brazil's line. Maybe
majdnem görög.
is going to be at. We could see Brazil or Korea go for the shots onto it. Looks like trying to thread the needle. USA is going to squeak by on the first part. The tail end eating a lot. How much damage is going to be going over into kickstart the rest of the crew just following him back behind all of this. They managed to creep past it all, but they're losing their car.
Jó, a kocsi! A kocsirobbanás mind a kettővel! De mi lett a gliderükkel? Az lezuhant vajon? Lelőtték? Csórok, bazzeg! Ezt a mindenit! Itt már ezt az nagyon késő volt az adata. De marikölyöknek. Na a búvárkund elindult, bazzeg. Valami, az nagyon finom egyébként amúgy, a pisztáciás, az kifejezetten finom, nem lehetek semmit csíkosat.
They forced Denmark over here right on top of Turkey, but Denmark's not even inside the circle. Ukraine now going to be to the south of them. Ukraine's having problems though with Indonesia kind of holding them off in the rotate that they want to make. We still also have Celtic for Turkey on the other side of all of this. So it's 2 players for Turkey trying to defend up the approach from Denmark. And now Celtic's in a vehicle and he's going to have to roll right in between Ukraine and Denmark.
I've seen multiple versions of Keta. This time it's Keta M24.
Tiszteletre méltó, bazzánk. Valaki bolt actionezik.
Denmark still trying their very best to lock down an eastern position. They need to
Érted,
have
hogy démerek
a
fossá
new
vannak nerfelve, és
checkpoint
még
to
így is
go
ugye
to.
a hibázási lehetőség miatt, egyébként még így is mindenki a faszom 5-ös démereket használja.
Maybe hoping that could be their next point of call.
Kurt just swimming, staying alive, but
just keep swimming. Hát ez neki itt ez a terv. Itt nincs több. Tehát ez itt ennyi. Viszont a Vietnám csapatnál van egy MG. Azt akarom látni. Pénz is, geci. Azóta megbújik, szerencsétlen bent egy hangárban.
Maybe looking to see if they can go hand that Denmark line, get out of shipyard and start playing the external wall.
I'd love to know what Delwyn has north of South Korea.
Az ilyen morgó nagyon gyorsan váltogat el a kamerákat, igen. Kicsit hozzá kell szokni. Hopp! Nem tudom, hogy hallották el egyébként a nagy csatában, hogy megálltak, vagy bekresseltek. Nem hallották, valószínűleg. Nézd oda! Nem tudom, hogy direkt cresselte egyébként a másik ukrán autó. De ez volt a legjobb amúgy, mert itt a nagy csatában nem hallották abszolút.
Turkey's now going to try to take some shots over into Ukraine. Indonesia is going to use that opportunity to sneak up.
Braziloknak egyébként amúgy most jelenleg a pozíciót kell megszerezni, és akkor azzal... Azzal egyébként elég pontot szereznek, hogy megtartsák az első helyet. Korea még 4, meg az oroszok is. 4-en vannak még, úgyhogy... Jó, tehát bármi.
Hakatori being taken out though by Indonesia as well. More ordnance being used to try and get rid of more explosives here.
Aki nem shipyardon van, az próbálhat rotálni, de kurva nehéz.
Shout out to China. They've done a great job in avoiding so much of this. They're playing that western coastline and doing a great job on defense. So they're kind of coming through this pretty squeaky clean in comparison to what's going on with Ukraine.
Egymás mellett van egyébként a két ember, amúgy nem tudom, hogy látták-e.
Turkey still got to get in with Indonesia still on top of them. But let's not forget to the south. We've got Finland as well as neutral, both kind of navigating on a similar path as everything seems to be funneling right into the Philippines.
Bad way in here to try and get things going. Celtic though does take down the rest of Indonesia here, still in 16th place. But Turkey
közben kiesett az utolsó angol játékos is egyébként, mert a körbe halt meg. Hát itt le volt tartva már, de azt nem láttuk.
I'm a little concerned eventually for what's going to happen for Korea here. I think they know that they have to deal with Vietnam.
Az a nagy Tiger Woods kisebbik fia! Az dokkolt!
I mean, they're dug down, they're trying to dig deep and get themselves a spot to be able to eventually
Micsoda!
but I think by the time they transition, Finland's going to dispatch them.
They're not even inside the circle, so all these little holes aren't going to do much more than just catch grenades for them, and they know it, but they can't move out. There's just too many other squads that are around them in Finland. Playing around this external position. Going to go ahead and spot out Levante. He's going to go down. Batulin's got to commit into the res. Okay, you lost one just to replace one, and nades continue to roll in, and Satsar gets down low.
Yeah, they just have too much utility. Too much utility to go up against.
Igen, a finnek ezek megszórják rendesen őket.
Bombarding them. Bit of a spray forward there again, realizing that they could completely put the nail in the coffin here for neutral on this south side.
És pusolják, tudják, hogy ott van amúgy. Ja, szép. Finnek jól játszottak egyébként, mire maradni is amúgy. Hát hoznak itt még valami komolyabbat. Amúgy baszik, itt mindenki jól játszik amúgy, azt tudnám. Elég komolyakat mennek.
Shipyard gonna get spicier the longer that it goes. Payne's gonna be creeping it so close to Brazil, but he's just gonna play it quiet. He's wanting
Ez már a játék eleje óta egyedül van a
God, that's
csapatban.
another point going over to Brazil. They are finding something in a messy game.
Trying to smoke off a potential line of sight across all of these warehouses from South Korea.
Korea meg megpróbál egy kicsit sunyogni, BRDM-et életbe tartani, és úgy a végén nyerni szerintem. Az, hogy nem lövik le itt egyébként, az utolsó német játékos, az elképesztő. És még be tud menni a bokorba is a körön belül, vagy pont nincs bent. Egy heal, és utána mennie kell be, talán bemegy az, ja, bemegy. Ez elképesztő. Nem tudom, hogy látták-e amúgy a törökök, de szerintem látták.
This is going to get really desperate. Korea is going to have to watch two different fronts.
Might not end up being the 20-point game if Korea is able to win it, but a win will be a win if they can make something happen here.
Igen, hogyha Korea megnyeri, azért ez nekik kurva jött menne. Ez konkrétan betenni őket az első helyre azonnal.
The only team that was on that Northwest Island and then coming over here and claiming this land when it did shift was quick, rapid.
Hát itt az volt a szerencséje egyébként ott a német játékosnak, hogy konkrétan rászűkült az első pár, és ő volt az egyetlen, aki túlélte a rotát, és onnantól nem kellett mozognia, elég pozícióra játszani, nem kell semmi kockázatot vállalnia.
And Korea is playing the section of Shipyard that's got an open sight line, kind of where China's playing from, so that can be an issue. Kurt used that a second ago to kind of squeak his way on by.
Kettő BRDM van, azt jól láttam? Kínánál is van egy BRDM, meg Koreánál is?
Just Kurt being alive right now, so might be able to salvage out some
Azt
points
nem láttam, hogy
here.
szerintem igen.
Nade starting to land down around Korea. That's going to draw Brazil's attention.
Az kurva érdekes végjáték lehet.
Give some extra cover later on when the circle actually bears down towards a middle position. But now Zhao Wu takes down Sata here. China's laughing.
Hallják egyébként a mozgásokat.
Compared to the rest of these teams. Korea's trying to reposition their BRDM. I'm a little bit concerned about this. They're taking their time about it. They know Vietnam's on the way. Sees Delwyn.
Látják egymást, a TPP fight! És az MG túl nagy! Mondtam, hogy túl nagy az az MG! Mondtam, hogy túl nagy az az MG! Nem fér be egy csomó helyre!
But it is going to be Turkey now eliminated.
Ez egy fél HP-s kiszáll!
Does get the knock. Korea's finding success. Brazil, here's this. They're running over. They want to get involved as fast as possible. But Vietnam is already eliminated.
It's a full important shutdown here.
Ha van faszotok, korai társaikban azért azt az MG-t elviszitek még a végére. Kelleni fog a másik BRDM-re. Nem, de hiába bazzeg, tehát hogy nem viszi el amúgy az augnál marad. De hogy... Hopp, Pace-re meghallották Pace-t. Hetedikként, ugye? Rá nyolcadikként? Nyolcadikként. De hogy hetedikként esett ki? Ja, az egész jó helyet hozott akkor. Finnek most estek ki. De hetedikként esett ki. Az teljesen jó helyet hozott. Az legalább egy 3 pont azt hiszem, ugye?
To strike at one another. Eventually there has to be a clash between those, and then I think that what ends up happening is probably China just sweeps in and gets the win towards the end. We will see though.
Ki kellett mennie. Tolta a kör.
Poised to try and strike at one another. Alec is down though here for Philippines.
Az volt a baj egyébként ott is a korai összecsapásnál egyébként, ugye TPP-ben látták egymást, de hiába látták egymást, az AUG ugye nem ér ki addig, kicsi a fegyver, és ő közelebb tudott menni és tudta lőni a fejét. Még az MG az meg belakott mindenbe is.
They've set up a defensive line along this wall, and Brazil playing the other side of it. It's just angle control. That's everything that Korea is leaning into. This is Korea's bread and butter.
Az a baj bazzák, hogy a brazilok még mindig benn vannak, Korea most nagyon nagyot ment. Leraktak egy egész csapatot, az kurva jó volt nekik, az nagyon jó jött, de a brazilok még mindig benn vannak.
Sparking in the distance does see Philippines. Maybe you can get a few extra little kills here and there.
Nem vállalnak rizikót, nem vállalnak kockázatot a brazilok amúgy abszolút most. Próbálnak itt killeket szerezni így az erdőben amúgy, ahogy látom most így a végén, igen, és meg is szerzik amúgy.
Biel again here shuts down Philippines. It's more points, God. They really, after half of us on the desk are saying nope, they're not going to be able to do it. They've rallied back and shut us up.
I have believed
Nem tudom, mit csináltak ilyen sokáig az erdőben. Kínát látom, hogy mit csinál, azt értem. Nem akarnak bemenni a shipyardra, tudják, hogy ott van egyébként a maradék csapat fixen. Purdi! Gyerekek, Purdira nem néztünk rá, bazdzik 100 000 éve, az ott a búvárkund még ott van egy helyben szerintetek? Ne, ki jött, bazd meg! Micsoda? A semmi közepén fekszik, mi beásta magát? Hogy csinálta ezt? A vízből? Az gatyapapa.
Somehow survives that thanks to lying down with that nade, not being able to do a full damage. So not bad there from Purdy. A second one would finish him off. They know that someone's still down there though, so they're trying their best to get rid of him. Lying down is the ultimate cheat code though against grenades. Remember that for your games.
I mean, he's surviving. He's burning a lot of utility, and that is keeping Korea in the sweat. It's
Jézus Istenem.
Run him down.
Azt mondod, hogy átmennek rajta.
Oh no, the BRDM, what do you even do at this point? You're just kind of stuck. You gotta do the dance around.
Yeah, and there's no decent follow-up as well, like they couldn't use angles to deal with that.
Aj, de hát a saját
BRDM. It's the classic, it's the El Clasico here for that.
De az, hogy mekkora taktika volt, nem?
That's really smart. I think that if you've given
tehát konkrétan beálltál a BRDM-mel úgy, hogy a gránát pont biztosan oda menjen, ahol az ember áll. Csak hát így közben gondolom kapja a damage-et.
They want to go for position, counter position away from Korea to force Korea to have to play against China. But China heard this, has kind of read it out. They're coming back to puts in a lot of work. And Brazil might find themselves in trouble now as they're taking damage from China and kind of put themselves in a pinch position. Oh,
közben egy panzer.
Manages to get the Panzerfaust off. And China now starting to focus in on Korea.
Azt el kell kezdeni pusolni, tudják, hogy pusolni kell.
Considering the circle was a little bit against them here for Brazil, it would be amazing if they're able to make a win happen from this one. As more nades go through, Kraken finally does shut down Heather. Can they be aggressive on this? If they are though, surely China will spring a trap to be able to put it in against Brazil
as well. Kína van a win pozícióban jelenleg, baszki. Nem is kicsit.
You can't go up against that rock. Biel's holding at that rock to make sure he can try and deal with China, but this is going to be hard here, Matrim.
Azt szerintem az hiba volt oda lepusolni. Nem tudta, hogy van még egy a kőnél amúgy szerintem. Azért ott veszették egymást 4v3. Bent shipyardon. Jézusom. Befejezték a kínai játékost. Hopp, közben! Kína dupla név!
I am perplexed that China
de kibaszott be szendvicsben vannak egyébként.
Earlier on they saw him moving, C4 on the play here as well, Tony trying to find as many as possible he can. Sparking will shut down
1v1, az egy C4! Az egy C4!
There's no way that does any damage whatsoever. But I mean, at the same time here, Brazil now has to smoke on up and try and get out of here. It's 4v3 technically. If they win this game, this tournament might just be over.
Up to a 21-point lead. Everybody just keeps chasing, trying to find something to catch up to Brazil.
4v3 egyébként, de Kína nagyon jó helyen van. Füstökkel tudnak felmenni. Kurva sok füsttel, rengeteg füsttel.
Brazil versus China. China wanting to climb, get in the thick of the pack, wanting to get in the hunt, wanting to climb up as high as they can get. Brazil on the other side, wanting to try to lock this down, but it is a defensive line, high ground from China, as Brazil is just fighting
tooth and nail. Az a néd amúgy pont belement a kapóba. Az a kör, az gatya. Igen, az gatya. 3v3. Van egy AVM is.
Tony as well as the boys now. Biel is gone. It's not going to be up to him here to do anything else. Remaining now as China, they don't have any more nades. They actually spent so many on Kurt, I think. There's a little bit here and there.
Igen, elhasználtak egy csomó gránátot izére, kurdi-purdira, bazd meg az amerikai sráccal. Nagyon-nagyon jó pozícióban vannak a kínaiak.
Waiting to see if any part of them peeks around the side, gets the damage off.
Nice.
Xiaowu is a beast.
Nice.
And it's China from the south side here shutting down the lobby
Szép.
leaders.
Nagyon jó helyre álltak meg egyébként, amúgy a hídon. Nagyon-nagyon jó helyre álltak meg. A filipinók ott, amikor meghaltak a braziloknak, onnantól kezdve Kínának iszonyat pozíció volt. Egyetlen nagy hiba volt egyébként lepussolni a kőhöz. Azt szerintem az nem volt okos.
Really early on, they were on that sort of coast in the west and they went to control. It was a moment that they actually went, do you know what, we need to get rid of herding, we're going quite well. At that point, we were going to go for the win. For me though, it was actually Shipyard, which was really interesting. Brazil were looking to try and close the gap. Not quite the third party, but they took the opportunity to close down that space. And then when that knock came in from China, it was a green light. And
szerintem még van egy kis időnk a kettő között,
he was left to his own devices outside and he had one job to do, and the job was to delay China's push and make sure they pushed towards sort of Team Korea, and it worked in the favor of Brazil.
Yeah, crazy stuff here, Gibson. This was.
Ez a gránát az óriási volt. Iszonyat pattant amúgy, undorító volt. De szerintem ezt nem direkt csinálták amúgy. Viszont iszonyatosan lereagálták. Ezt szerintem biztos, hogy nem direkt csinálták amúgy ezután. De kurva jó volt. Nagyon jó jött ki.
They took out Argentina, who were second place at the time, and they didn't care about China. Like, I think people need to watch that and realize they knew the leaderboard. They did not care what China were doing outside.
Szerintem beakadt az MG, nézd, a felfelelő végig. Szegény baszeg.
So they did a phenomenal job of doing that.
De szomorú.
Look, we questioned them. I think someone was wondering, like, was the momentum going to be a problem for them as they couldn't pick up kills? Brazil dominated that lobby. Like, only for China having the high ground, Brazil could have got another win there.
The only thing I add though,
igen, és az a baj, hogy túlságosan is ismerős. Jó. A C4 még nagyot mehetett volna, még az is nagyot mehetett volna, azt még megnéztem volna. Na nézzük a sorsolásokat, azt mondja, hogy megy az első. Misclick, az első nyertesünk. Polipok a második nyertesünk. Fire Sámi a harmadik nyertesünk. Arany Bence a negyedik nyertesünk, és Liasz az ötödik nyertesünk. Léci, írjatok rám mindannyian, akik nyertek. Lesz még a következő kódok, azok 2000 G-coinosak lesznek. És ez már sose, ez már extra volt, nyugi. Ez még már nem nyerti semmit, még miért azt hinnéd. Kell nekem
That gave them so much inside of that game, and
mondja,
it's a very heady way to play. It's also a very ballsy way to be like, yeah, I know Korea's over there, but we also can take you and
és akkor ez lesz majd a 2000-es. Jó nagy ceruzám a közpapám.
This might be, with them shutting down Korea in this game, this might be the championship moment. This might be.
Na, ezt kell beírni a következő 2 kód kisorsolásához. Következő game után fogjuk kisorsolni, és ez 2000 G-coinos sorsolás lesz. Jó?
Very decent lead against anybody who's trying to challenge. Let's take a look at the points coming in from that one. 18 points go the way of China. They are still looking to get themselves back up to podium because they had a bad start, Gibson, to today, and this is getting them right back up there.
Küldöm Bencének is a
what they've seen when you think about the star power they have with all those 17 players, but they've done a good job of winning maps and showing up. I think that's the first time we really saw them start to impose themselves on a game, and even then their kills were limited to 8 because they weren't in Shipyard. But it's a big one for them. It puts them right on the coattails now of Korea, just 5 points behind them. But what about Brazil? Like, Vi and Brazil at this point in time, I am so pumped for those guys. And let's remind ourselves, they're not dominating this PNC by winning maps. It is kill points and just being alive inside top 8s that have got them to where they are.
Yeah, that's true. I think they've got, what, 1 win?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1.
And yeah, every other game has just been... What if we just shoot at everything? A 3rd place with 11 kills, a 4th place with 10 kills, a 3rd place with 10 kills, a 4th place with 7 kills, but it looks like here Mr. Zhao Wu and
Space kellene még egy ember, ki nem írt még?
For China here for that. But when you look at a game like this, and they're
Liasz
coming in
Bence,
from that west
Polipok,
side, and
Sámi
they really don't
megvolt.
have many teams contending them, you'd hope that they were able to do something with a game like that here, Mark.
Yeah, I think it's all about control, right? And I think it's difficult when you play in that sort of zone. They were waiting for the zone shift to come away from it all, and then waiting for that south, but it was different for their style of play. Yeah, they got the win in the end, but they are climbing the leaderboard, but they're not going to be taking them out of this. And BL, I come back to my point, he was given a job, he left the compound, and I'm saying his job was to focus to the south, stop these teams. He got points, put him on man of the match, but the key role was to stop that push from China.
Very important. Well done by him to be able to get
Igen, még kettő kódom van, ugye az, amit a két ember, aki nem írt. Jó, okés, meg vagyunk.
The nades didn't go over to the other side of the rock, and then they were like, okay, I guess no one's there. Like, I don't think that is the case.
Na, akkor vissza a gamebe, és akkor a következő kettő G-coin az ugye a 2000-es G-coin lesz.
You would be so like guaranteed to get that position and shut down anything that Brazil would want to try to get rolling. And instead went over with one. It was a little bit of an ego flex against them. So I don't know. It's kind of odd. It felt like the squad that gave China the most trouble was, interestingly enough, America.
Igen, a utána figyelni kell, azok így a kurva sokat, mert rohadt meleg van kint.
For sure, and they had to send a lot of nades his way. You could see just then Sparking giving some what looked like emboldened speech almost, as they know the place that they are in. 122 points. It's going to take one of these teams just south of that here, Gibson, 2 decent games to catch up.
Hát, amúgy erre a mapra leszek a legkíváncsibb. Mindjárt kaptuk vissza kamerát is a
Remember who you are, Brazil. Frag out. All they need to do now is get 4 or 5 points a game, and I think it'll be enough.
Looks like a bit of a sullen situation there for Denmark at the moment, but they're the kind of team that could have 2 banger games.
Igen, a fake polo úgy.
We are ready to roll, ready to rock, ready to rondo for the penultimate game here of PNC 2026.
Erre leszek a legkíváncsibb egyébként. Erangelt, azt nyilván láttam már végtelen fightot ott, meg végtelen profi meccset is, de szerintem rondon még egyet se.
Can Brazil finish it here and now? That is the question. Or will someone else draw it into a Rangel to crown your PNC champions? One thing is for sure, Mark. BL, the best wingman in the game at this point in time. Can he continue what's been an excellent PNC for him?
Feels like it. And said, penultimate game, fly off here for this one is northwest down towards a south central. We do favour that south to southwest side of the map. Everyone be praying for that zone shift to go the other way. If you're Brazil, for me, Gibson, they've got to secure this map. Why? The Orangles have been so random when it comes down to the zone, and what they don't need is teams lurking in the wings, though, coming to a final game.
Okay, but I'll counter that. I'll play devil's advocate. Which team coming into today had the most points on area?
Ezután van még egy darab
but you can't let go. The zones have been
crazy.
And if you look at a team like a 17 gaming with Spaceman, with China, with an Argentina, I'd even say, which I'd say has better momentum potentially on today, I think they could outperform it. So they need the point gap, and Brazil have to close it this game.
Yeah, well, look, Argentina probably looking at yesterday and thinking what could have been. Like, this is a team that had a brilliant day 1. They've been phenomenal on day 3, but a pretty anonymous by their standards day 2 has left them just a little bit behind. They're still in with a chance of 2 matches to go, but the work has to go. But Mark, we got a hot drop. Vietnam, a doozy, almost catching the first point of the game.
Abba a körbe túl sok város meg potenciálisan kisfaluk meg ilyenek házak amúgy nincsenek. Ez az autó, Jézus Istenem, ebből nem lehet hallani semmit. Ez ugyanolyan csúnyán néz ki hátulról, mint előről.
Brazil, and that for me is a place you don't really want to be if you want to get points to get a gap.
It's not incredibly dissimilar to the rondo we had yesterday, where Korea managed to get the win either. Mark, like the center of the circle being held by Brazil is only, you know, a few clicks north of where that game finished. So watch for what the likes of North Korea are able to do. I think they're a little further north up at Stadium than they were last time, so it's a bit different. But here's where kind of all went wrong for USA. China, though, it was just zonal control. They used the BREM to garner information. They played the high ground. I think they were a little bit upset that they couldn't get in the shipyard and get amongst it as far as kills are concerned, but The 10 points
Végig
for
csak
the win was
izére
kind of the
játszottak
big boon of
arra,
their
hogy
points.
csak azokat tudják lelőni, akik így bekerülnek a TPP
working their way
visionba.
down. Outstanding
Jól
grenades,
csinálták amúgy
outstanding
nagyon.
shots for Team
És
USA.
itt meg
It's
itt
unfortunate
ez a
for them,
legjobb
they
poszi
rolled
volt
in 'cause
ever,
they were
amit
looking for that
megszereztek.
safety from the coast. Purdy had to go Ninja Turtle on us as he went down towards the sewers, but then suddenly
Mondjuk, hogy Purdira
appears
azért
up
mennyi
in this sort
gránátot
of
dobtak el,
position
az
in the
valami
center of zone, and it did take China a little bit of time to sort of find that grenade that would finish things off. And let's be honest, on the other side, there's that push that James was talking about. He was able to hold Spaceman with a huge overarm Kobe, and that unfortunately put Korea in the dirt.
Yeah, and Zhao Wu just had a great angle here at the end to shut them down as he got Tony. He steps across and gets the knock on to Kraken as well, and that kind of putting an underline on to how good of a player that Zhao Wu is. But I just want to talk about something while this is going on. If you have the map feed open, Argentina are playing a bit of a game of chess with Brazil right now. Kraken is holding a position, but he has two Argentinian players driving around his compound, scouting it out, and Argentina will know this is Brazil.
Yeah, look, the drop spot, they've not changed. The flight path favours that. But obviously for Argentina, they want to get to second, and if they can take this compound away, get some kills, it'll be really good for them. So yeah, Argentina already on the move. For Brazil, they are split, but they've got decisions to make. If they do receive a crash, do they collapse and go aggressive, or do they play for the long game?
They had a 3-1, so at one point I think it was just Sparking by himself, but
they
sent Kraken over to join him whenever they heard the Argentinian vehicles coming nearby, so if I was Brazil,
de a köröket nagyon durán meg tudják
they got
érezni.
here by fragging out and playing aggressive. I don't want to see them going passive now, like just keep playing
most
how you're
ők
playing,
benne
take on
vannak,
the
nem
fight,
láttam egyébként, de mindjárt
Mark, you know
megnézzük
what,
majd
it's not just
szerintem.
esports, it's any sport.
Igen,
When you're
TPP a
winning,
bajnokság.
and you're kind of getting to the final stages, it is so hard to get yourself out of the conservation mindset and keep playing the ways that got you to where you are.
Yeah, you think about the game and the tournament as a difference, right? You come into this and obviously you want to have a slow start, but consistent start. And we've seen that consistency from Brazil. We saw average 4 to 5 kills per game, and they were getting into those placement points. Consistency for Germany is a full send. And for Michael, unfortunately, he gets caught out. Team UK have not had their final that they wanted. But back to your point, for me, Brazil have got to this position by being aggressive, by
Jézusom! Milyen komoly berepüléses volt.
If they receive a crash, I would like to see them potentially collapse on that 2-2 split into a full send.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. As we watch UK having just lost one,
Most
they
néznék egy
lost a
térképet
player
amúgy
to
nagyon
areas.
szívesen.
I want to question about Germany. Do you feel like they've overachieved? Do you think they've underachieved, like with the team that they have, with the coach that they've brought along with them?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Or do you think 8th place is like where you expect them to be?
It's difficult. So, you know, me always get honesty. I
Finnek
think
mellett
on
az
paper,
amerikaiakat állnak.
the German roster last year was stronger. And you have questions, obviously, bringing in the Mythov, the TMO. So that is for Justice and for Ares, who have come through. And obviously, for those in the EMEA region, will see them and know them. But they've always fallen a little bit short. Now, Germany obviously found their way towards the grand finals. That's why they're here. I would question, though, would they have qualified through? Would they have work their way through the survival stage? I'm not sure, but what I'm seeing from this German team in the finals and the best of 15 has been okay.
Most látták meg egyébként a rotáló finneket szerintem.
A good game
itt is
might increase their money
tervezik a
and their
dolgot.
prize pool, but they have to close things out. So I see they're coming to form, but they've only had 15 games really to do it.
Yeah, you look at this, you've got 5 teams definitely in with a really good chance to win the whole event with one game to go. Well, I think Denmark's a long shot, but Brazil, if they can get anything into the 130s, I think that would be enough as Denmark begin their move into the zone from that southern side. But you got Indonesia, Vietnam, Brazil, Argentina in the center of the circle, and it looks like Indonesia they've got Korea moving in next door.
See how the rotation goes. These teams are now working their way in. Denmark on that south side. There's a lot of space between them and where they go. Argentina starting to open up a few shots towards the Kraken. So if it does get the knock, that might change where the rest of Argentina are. They're on a line. Korea looking to try and defend off.
Ide mondjuk el tudnám képzelni, a DMR sokkal jobb amúgy. Itt az a bolt action, de az mind a kettő megmenekült. Pedig buggy, nem a legjobb.
They're on 40 points, but they've been entertaining. Like, I've enjoyed watching them play. Setson is a player that I enjoy watching. Trick has got big moments in them, but they've just not really got it going. Now, it's not to say they've been awful. Like, they're still only a few points away from, you know, like, Philippines just a few ahead of them. Like, they're not a million miles off from being in the middle of the pack, but they've just not hit the heights that they managed to hit last year. As it looks like they want to show us where our lobby leaders are kind of at, like Korea, China, Brazil, Argentina, but That's not where the game's played, Mark. You've got 14 or 12 other teams that are in the midst of all that action as well, so it's not quite as simple as this looks.
No, but I do think it's a good picture, right? And for me, it's the China. Look where China have landed, and as you mentioned, we had another rondo like this before. So China positioned themselves towards this north side. They've gone for the wide rotation, a really wide rotation. So they know a lot of teams will potentially donut up. And for me, that takeaway from that graphics is where China's going to come in. Can they position themselves in somewhere to sort of play from? But they are relying on a zone shift coming back their way.
Yeah, neutral rotating in as well. They're going to end up on the other side of a hill to Korea if they decide to keep going on this path, or they might just send it in a little bit deeper towards where Vietnam are playing. But it is getting very messy and busy inside the center of that circle, and you'd expect Vietnam to start firing off some shots just to turn neutral the other way, and it looks like neutral are heading directly for Korea.
Nem tudom, hogy azért fordultak el mellőttek.
The shift comes back. It goes in the favor of China there. Now Korea have got to get moving. Neutral might deter as well. They don't need to stay high ground here. They can migrate back towards the east, and that is what they do. They are going to remain close. But look at the sea of color in the south. Argentina migrating, Brazil migrating, Thailand is ahead of them as well.
Every single team except for Vietnam and Indonesia are on the move right now. Everybody full sending it inside the circle.
Mindenki rotálba, az egész map rotál kocsikkal mindennel.
Too early, and they've just given up a prize position over to the Koreans. So neutral, just a little bit slow, but they'll continue to share this compound with Korea.
Itt megállnak, nagyon sok emberre fognak tudni nőni egyébként az oroszok, de
one of these big teams is going to end up in a fight within the next few minutes, and it's going to lead to a real domino effect in this lobby.
Yeah, look at the last game. We had so many teams up, 15, 16 teams, really mid to late game. It was that first team that fall. This is forcing the hand of these teams earlier.
Megint az angolokat találják meg egyébként a németek, óriási.
They've already taken blood, so they know who's in front of them, and they are down bodies here. And for Argentina, again, it's all
az egyetlen ember, aki meghalt ebben a játékban jelenleg, még az egyetlen angol, akivel a németek találkoztak.
Now they go back the other way.
Rárepültek be ezzel.
Capitan up as that forward scout, and the rest of the team are going to get on the move. So I think Capitan will make the call on where to go. I think that hill just south of Yulin on the other side of Thailand actually isn't a bad spot to play. Capitan will entrench himself.
Például ezt meg nem mondtam volna, hogy ez egyébként egy jó spot.
In that little pit that he's digging, Mark, he has got brilliant lines of sight on everything that could happen to the south.
Yeah, and the rest of the guys are now moving in. DraftKings. Obviously, they have seen the vehicle, so much will keep over the top. And sees their store there. It gets turned very quickly by Kiss. And that little dip, as you mentioned, that keeps their cars just safe at the moment. Or at least the tyres store alive. As Scappy with the M16, a gun that's been used quite a lot this event. Not a favourite of mine, I can be honest. But they are going to try and get this team moving on out.
Yeah, Capitan in trouble as well if anyone else gets a shot off, but I think he's just about managed to find a pattern that'll allow him to stay alive for just a little bit longer. Ukraine are making their way in. They'll find this compound completely vacant, a great spot for them, and who'd have thought they'd be in 10th place, Mark, going into this is sets and oh my word,
nem kérdezett, azt a kurva!
Sata will get the job done with a QB, but that was unfortunate for Indonesia.
I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Why? Because he knew. He was like, I'm dead. I'm going to crawl out of my foxhole and let you go.
There is no way.
Here comes the mortar fire as the Argentina team back away slightly. They're trying to find Thailand's position at range. Looks like Denmark obviously going to reposition where Argentina are and seeing the mortar fire in front. That's the information that they might need. They come over the top. Scabby comes over the top as well.
Kívánom egyébként, hogy a dánok pontosan ugyan oda mennek egyébként, mint az előbb az argentinok.
Turning tail again. The pressure from Thailand is just not worth it. Sending it towards
itt konkrétan a tájjátékosokban ezt egészen levédik ezt az egész helyet.
Neutral though aren't in China also.
Korea jó helyen van, Kína kint van a körön kívül. De nagyon össze-vissza játszanak most a kínaiak, ez nem tudom, hogy mi történik körön kívül. Viszont Korea nagyon jó helyen van. Brazilok még mindig mozognak.
They will work their way past, but they are trying to thread the needle. It's the same with Finland. They are threading the needle in the northwest. Denmark will find safety, but they find safety and push and apply pressure as Brazil have to leave.
Yeah, Brazil are going to pull in next door. A headshot was landed on the Tony, but he manages to get in safely. Nade's going to get tossed into BL, and that might be the go signal. If you're Brazil, you've got the knock on to Gustav, but BL got traded back, and that might change the plans.
Az nem ment el odáig, de az a gránát az insane volt, te hülye. Azt a kurva. Na. Az túlmegy. Az nem jó, az jó. Azt a kurva. Két blúzon között. Nem tud kiugrani. Nem tud kiugrani.
Yeah, the Argentina.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is big Argentina.
There is no way.
They know they can stop Brazil's momentum. Its res will occur inside the compound. Another nade from Pipa. This one, will it go far enough? Ketters does 27 damage, and that'll be a force back.
De dálok, de beszopták azt a mindenit, bazzeg. Konkrétan két oldalon megállás nélkül létezik őket.
This is a momentum-based compound. If it goes stagnant, we see it will be a bit of a standoff. UK will have the angles. Thailand's coming down to have a look now as well. But a play, a foot maybe in the right direction for Argentina, because they want to climb the leaderboard, but they know the teams are
nem bírt átugrani már kettő között. Valahol valami beszél.
No longer in the circle. They'll rotate past China, and Tian. He'll get the knock on the Ferris. Another point for China as they go back above Argentina. Defects.
Hát amúgy az nagyon-nagyon sokáig volt kint az ukrán játékos abból a kocsiból, bazzeg. Ez nagyon-nagyon ambiciózus volt. Nem is értem, hogy miért nem próbáltak meg lehúzni egyáltalán. 1v4. És a BRDM érte, és a körön kívül van. Tolni fogja a kör. Gatya. Ez gatya. Ez gatya. Phase 3-ban még a smoke-ban próbált kihírelni valamennyit, de le fogják tartani, ezt le fogják lőni.
So he knew that I was going to play towards him. When it pulled up, he got into the smoke straight away. The grenade was perfect from China, but now
de megint egyébként a fölösleges rádobálások amúgy
there isn't much time remaining for Team Ukraine.
Hát ez esélytelen volt.
China 1 point behind Korea now, and
de bazzeg,
sharing the northern section of the circle with them. They closed the gap in the last map. Can they usurp them in this one?
Eddig azt hittem, hogy körön kívül vannak, és
what happens if this goes down towards Brazil and Argentina?
No, they've got to lose it. They have lost the compound. Center up. So Korea need to move. Brazil need to move. Argentina and China. All of our top 4 contenders need to get shifting.
Az csuma középre
in towards zone. The standoff is going to be real here. Argentina, what's the play? Do they go through or do they go round? Well, Brazil say white flag. We're out of here, guys.
I think that's the right move. Be the first team to leave and let the other two fight. No, the other two are going to fight.
Igen, amúgy konkrétan.
Chase them. Denmark are going to see everybody on the move, but you got to deal with Brazil. Like, this is the problem that Argentina have. You can't allow Brazil free rein to play in the south.
Look at the confidence from Argentina. They've got in the car, 3 are following. They've exposed the angles. This is Argentina at its best. South America versus South
most meg kell akadályozni, hogy a kocsikkal elmenjenek a brazilok amúgy.
They have the angles, but can they close
nagyon meg kell ott akadályozni.
A little bit deeper inside the circle, but the other two are kind of trapped now.
Na, Kulcsó, halál. Hopp, na, hát, ha meglátjuk az elsőt.
1-2-1 the number. The mortar strikes are sent up 3 into essentially the same area mark. This could be really bad for Brazil.
Hát, az bazzeg, itt közelébe se. Hát, a harmadik.
It is too short. It is over. Done for the guys. Now for Argentina, they have to reset. Beamy gets involved, and they haven't left the compound just yet. Thailand also in the wings. Don't forget, Great Britain have line of sight here. Tony, he gets back in his car. He looks to try and close the gap.
Yeah, going back now towards the gas station next door to where the Danes were. They about 40 meters too short from causing a world of pain for Brazil.
4v3 egyébként az Argentin-Brazil fight, de még az argentinok mellett itt vannak közvetlen. A dánok még mindig, yes.
Mark 15 teams still alive in phase 4.
This is mental. Indonesia also coming in, guys, on that west side as well. So when they come over the ridgeline, they will start to see where Brazil are.
Ők mennyire látnak rá a dolgokra vajon? Arra is kíváncsi lennék amúgy, mert ők is közel vannak hozzájuk.
They've only got really one option, and they've played their cars, and they're playing it out. So they now got to get out of dodge. So they now leave the area, and Brazil, oh my God, they give a bit of a blow. DraftKings will fall, and that's a clear message. Don't you dare push us.
1, 2, 3, the point tally now as they continue to just extend their lead. Korea not taking advantage at all just yet. They're inside the blue as they finally make their way inside the circle now. But Brazil, Kraken has Indonesia in his sights.
Azt a kurva, mekkora csata van. A brazilok itt össze tudják lopni a világ összes kívét amúgy.
There's another point. Green will fall down. Tony, he bites one more time. So Kraken eyes on.
És most a táj, igen. Erre voltam kíváncsi, hogy mennyire lát rájuk.
Yeah, but he still got that extra point. Brazil with 3 players up as Germany bringing the fight to Indonesia. A little damage dealt on the Pains, but this is all happening directly west of the
most
circle.
táj és Filippin rota.
Vietnam and Korea need to go through China.
Argentinok körön kívül, dánok tartják az argentinokat közben lent.
Back towards the west, and it's the west that needs to get shifting. Germany yet again digging their trenches.
Imádom, németek bazeg azt a pickaxe-ot, azt bazeg, mint hogyha izé lenne. A Kriegsmanek lennének a 40k-ba, az ásót viszik magukkal, bazeg mindenhova. Hopp! Közben egy bolt action lock, fejes ráadásul. De hát megnéztem volna azt is amúgy. Amúgy, az a spray az amúgy az aktuálisan fasza volt. Csak, hát ja, ketten néztek rá.
Know they need the points, but China extending this way as well. China want Korea.
Yeah, they want Korea, but they got the BRDM. That's a big stance for them now to
try and hold that
fight.
Jó Isten. Elég egy, hogyha bemegy a sarkon, de nagyon nehéz ott bedobni. Ott kell hagynia, ott kell hagynia. Ne, menni kell, papám, menni kell.
Yeah, Pipa, the other player's down, but he has no idea. You gotta get in the circle, Argentina.
De argentinoknak is menniük kéne.
Second and third. Do not go down to the blue. Korea, though, they're drawing up.
Braziloknál egy nokkos, 2 él.
Huge arc goes over as the UK will fall, as also US will go down.
Azok a nédek, azt a kurva, az mindegyik nagyon közel volt.
South Korea.
Azt a mekkora káosz van, te jó Isten. Hú, ezt játszani, bazzeg, én nem is tudom, ez hogy lehet, de a BRDM-re a panzer kurva jó lehet. Menekül a BRDM. Tudja, hogy van egy közel hozzá? Nem tudtam úgy. Flex kihasználta. A brazil nagyon rossz helyen, nagyon rossz helyen. Flexik kinéznek rá, ott gatya, ha ki tud nézni rá, és a dánok lövik oldalba. Brazilok kint. Koreának most nagyon nagyot kell szakítania. Hogy most lehet. Királyok egyedül. Négy V1, és a gránát, az rajta van, az megvan. Szép. Ez így kurva izgalmas lehet a végére. Első 5 tím közül még az oroszok vannak bent, de ez is egy játékos csak. Korea bent van a kör szélén, filippinokkal fájtolnak majd. Viszont ők meg fájtolnak közben a tájjátékosokkal, viszont leszűkül a koreaiakról. Rotálni kell majd. Úristen, szerencsétlen, az utolsó rossz játékos próbál hílelni.
You can see Philippines, they've got Korea in their sights. Can they do something with a mortar? Imagine the scenes if Philippines take them down with a mortar strike.
Alec, though, he was keeping an eye on it, but unfortunately, with
mindenki BRDM-be. Azzal az egyetlen esélyemről lehet jól rotálni. De hova lehet itt rotálni? Kurva nagy open van, a semmi közepén. Be a filippinók alá. Ez itt így. És a izé is jön. Ugyanaz volt a terv, ugyanaz volt a terv. No!
Yeah, Heaven's trying to hold the line. There's a member of Korea down here. Kiss gets a knock onto Human. This is Korea holding the fort. 2 players up. CJ sending it on in, and the Philippines are eliminated. But can they get the reses off? 2 players down. They're under heavy fire. Korea, is this going to be it?
Meg pedig ott minden esély meg volt rá. A panzerrel. El is, bazd meg.
Oh my word, Korea up to 8 kills.
És mind a 4 játékosok életben? Nem, 3. Egyet vesztettek.
You've gotten the fight here between UK. I think that's Vard throwing the nades towards Scappy, but Thailand were the team that were pressuring towards Korea.
És most gyakorlatilag, hát mondanám, hogy free-be tudnak majd lövöldözni, de nem teljesen.
And then he goes down and oh no, T-Bone runs for safety, but Thailand right on top of Team UK. They're gonna fall, and unfortunately they fall in 6th place.
Nem jó az a körszélemény.
BRDM, Store Able, Store Mobile, Store Open Train for them to get involved, and with Thailand taking the high ground on the south, they have the opportunity now to rain fire. Top 4 now remain.
Török, Vietnám és Táj van a koreaiak mellett.
Other than Korea would be a big win for Brazil, but if Korea get it done, we are going to be hot and heavy going into the final game of the tournament. Korea just about on the inside of the circle, but that BRDM
megpróbálják szétszedni azt a BRDM-et, amennyire tudják. Ők benne vannak a körbe a tájjátékosok.
They can get rid of that. South Korea is stuck open terrain, right? And there it goes. Difficult for them. Lucky enough there's a car here for them now to start play from, but they get a little bit of breathing room. They are on the outside, but they are inside of the zone. And the rest of the teams are on the west. We've got Vietnam in the compound, Turkey on the high ground on the west, and the southwest though is for Team Thailand. So as long as these teams can keep fighting, it'll be okay for Korea. What I fear for Gibson though is these teams are going to fixate on South Korea and then take the final battle themselves.
And what is it like? It's 11 points between first and second right now, so there is a world where Korea could usurp top spot away, and that circle has just, it's not gone 100% in their favor, but that is as nearly as good as it can get for them.
Úristen, hogyha meg tudják állítani azt a rotát, akkor vagy nem megnyerték ezt a gémet. Ez a rota, ez most el fog dönteni mindent.
We got 2 teams competing to claim that championship, the PNC trophy for 2026. Emma, here's the spray. Thailand has the additional number for them, and they reposition now into zone, but as a risk, they lose the high ground.
Yeah, Evan, now he's going to blow it up. There's a chance to get a knock on to Thailand, but the first one is going to go amiss. Ammo could become a problem for Korea in a little while, but it looks like with that
throwball lesz a probléma. Olyan szép!
Great spray from Heather will take down Kiss, and they're full sending it towards Thailand.
Most nem szabad spórolni a gránátokkal, mennie kell mindennek.
That'd be a confirmation, no opportunity for Kiss to come back. Shida though, he rips around into that south side and reclaims the position that Thailand had. They're able again to cause problem. Thailand might move just too soon.
10 points now is the gap, and you've got a 3 versus 4 versus 3 versus 3. Shella now looking towards Thailand as well, and Turkey could do a huge favor for Korea if you can take the tie out of this position. But my question is, Vietnam, all their utility, they should have nades galore.
Hol állnak? 14%-ot adtak?
What can they do?
Hát
when did they move? I think it's more the
Vietnamnak adnak
because they are sitting the
60%-ot.
decider of this match might be when Vietnam want to activate. Where do they go and who are they going to be aggressive with? They've got South Korea on the other side of the ridge. They're taking a bit of a breathing room now as they leave the compound. But Turkey though, as I said, they took the high ground away from Thailand. Now they're going to take that position, and now they come down.
Yeah, this could be an opportunity. Manabay pushes himself up. He's coming under fire.
Még egy kill Koreának.
This could be another point for Korea. He's got him behind the car, and
az nem rossz. Majdnem.
On the other side is Celtic will get to the crate, but Celtic falls to the hands of the tie.
Yeah, Belmov though on the other side though, it is round.
Utolsó török játékos is Törökországnak vége.
Remaining not for long. 10 kills though. Oh my days on the way for South Korea. Takes them up to 116. Now they hold 3 teams remain. It's a 4 versus 3 versus 3.
Igen, mert azért is a százalék egyébként az ő feléjük dől, mert 4-en vannak még ugye. Igen, lehet, hogy a HP-k alapján megy. Sokat számít az egy játékos. Na mi lesz az utolsó körben, az meg arra leszek kíváncsi.
Well, it should be the calm before the storm. How much utility is left is the big question.
Smoke-okkal menni kell. Ja, kim vannak a körön kívül, az a baj.
towards the west, and I suppose the entrenchment of Vietnam has already been positioned. There goes the smoke line. There goes the smoke wall. South Korea, they're the first team to make the move.
Yeah, they're moving up towards that rock, which is inside the circle.
De a tájjátékosok is körön kívül vannak, nekik is rotálniuk kell.
He's just in the smoke, creating himself a pit, and that smoke will dissipate soon. So how deep can he dig before it disappears? Human doing the exact same. They are trying to set themselves up. I love this position under the tree. It's going to be so hard to find Human.
És a pickaxe-szal beásták magukat bazzeg itt a körben, nagyon nagy.
Logically, they're going to throw the grenades and dump the utility at the rock. Has Heather positioned himself far enough away? Does it bounce away from him? Does Tigger cause them problems? Because they can throw from the south. Don't forget, Thailand are not in. Korea have moved first. Now they can wrap him behind them and cause them huge problems.
Oh my,
necces, nagyon necces.
He's got a molly at the ready. He's sending it towards Thailand. The nade's been thrown this way, and it bounces off the lip, and it's denied. Couldn't quite get it into the hole with Heather, but Heather, your time is running out with that blue zone. Tigger is taking damage as well as the BZ went this way, but Thailand and Korea still in a bit of a stance here between Heather and Tigger.
Yeah, Molly comes back down, goes a little bit too far. Tigger obviously hops
nehéz lesz a vége egyébként amúgy. Igen. Ezt akartam mondani, hogy behúzni kettő csapat között amúgy majd, hogy nem lehetetlen lesz, de mind a kettő csapat most így órára van fixálódva. Oda néz, oda néz! De nagy! Oh, mekkora négy volt viszont!
Will go down. Tigger going to be there. South Korea tries to play peekaboo, tries to find another kill, another steal if possible, and it's not going to be the case. Tigger launches another one forward though, as you have to find safety in the pit.
Ki tudja hílelni? Ki tudja hílelni? Ki tudja hílelni? Nem tudják hílelni.
With a double, but Hemas gets Guman. Korea with one player up, Thailand the same, and Vietnam, if they get the kill over here,
itt viszont csak túlélés. A második helyre kell játszani Koreának.
Denies one, they pick up from Hemas though, but he has to try and hold on. Another point, another placement could be the case.
Úgy van, így van.
It's going to be down. Vietnam will be the winners.
Ki lett a második amúgy?
But oh my god, guys. James Martin, what a penultimate game.
Korea lett a második, vagy? Egy gyorsabb vége lett utána, azért nem tudtam eldönteni, ki halt meg először.
10 kills at least go the way. Actually 11 kills for South Korea here overall, but Vietnam silent and deadly towards the end from that compound.
Ők kivártak egyébként, jól csinálták amúgy. Ők kivártak a legvégéig, jól csinálták. Nagyon egyszerre láttam meghalni őket. Hát az plusz egy pont amúgy szerintem, ha jól tudom akkor.
The shift over, China, Vietnam in a phenomenal spot. That's where Korea started to find a lot more of their kills and started to cascade it, roll it together to make sure that we get the spiciest of last games moving into this, because it was very violent.
Azt nem értettem egyébként, hogy miért maradtak ilyen, nagyon sokáig kim volt mindegyik.
Finding the capabilities to get their firefights that they really should have been putting together this whole time, in my opinion. I don't know, where was this China?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question, and I don't know whether or not they're going to be able to challenge now as we take a look at the highlights here from this game. Gibson, it does feel now like Brazil versus South Korea, considering what South Korea was able to just put up.
It's going to be insane, and I couldn't be more jealous that you two are going to be on the mic for that one. This is as tight a PNC as I can remember in years, and the scary thing about it is, James, Brazil and Korea both have a decision of the point tally they have.
Azért nem lehet visszatekerni kár. De az a panzer, azt kurva. Hogy nem lokkolt le többet?
Korea could think the same. They could take the fight to Brazil.
Pedig nagyon nagy pénisz
Either way,
volt
both
bazzeg
of these
amúgy.
teams,
Nagyon
they
nagy
are going to
fasszal
have to have
mentek.
a chat
Nagyon
during
szép
this
volt.
break because they need to decide what the game plan is for Orangel.
Ez a túrás is nagyon jó volt.
Korea here. There wasn't much more that they could do from this side of the circle, right, Mark? I mean, Vietnam should have had this dead to rights. Obviously, Thailand coming on the same side as Korea as well.
Sorsoljunk, meg közben Miszklik is írt, hogy neki is elküldöm a kódot.
From this, and that double blue zone as well on the left against Thailand. Just those extra little points might be the difference maker.
Yeah, I was concerned actually for South Korea, because you've got to remember, we saw China leapfrog ahead of them. They were held up with that neutral push. Obviously, neutral took that sort of dried up riverbank. So it's good there. They were able to punch a hole through China. They're able to get the BRDM.
Akkor 2 2000-es G-coint sorsolunk, jó gyerekek?
Late game.
Azt mondja, hogy megy a sorsolás 3, 2, 1. Misclick! Gratulálok papám, I guess. Nagyon szép. Egy 2000-es újabban, és... Ennyire kevesen jelentkeztetek be ezek, hogy újra sorsoljuk a két embert? Mi történik? Jó, következőben már Misclick és Bajgator nem nyerhetnek, de most még elvihetik. Nagyon szép, kellene kettő...
Yeah, admittedly, right, if you think about the transition from 25 to 26, I think, I am of the opinion, TPP doesn't lend itself as well to
bármi bunda
their
lenne.
previous aggressive style that we see from them in their big moments.
13,
is that fair, Maxim?
I feel so. I mean, that was always Vietnam's bread and butter, right? Was just crash into your face, run up, take very dangerous peaks and just try to outshoot
akkor írjatok majd papáim, Misclick meg Barigator. És akkor az utolsó sorsolás az pedig ugyanúgy 2000 G-coin lesz, itt most 3 megy ki. És Barigator és Misclick többet már nem nyer. Jó, ezt kell beírni. Köszi Kucsi, köszi a 8. hónapod.
All right, here it is, the lay of the land here for the final game. 6 points separates Brazil and South Korea. If South Korea is able to take on over Brazil, and a similar game happens to just happened with Brazil only getting 2 points, we could see a 3-time PNC champion. And then beyond that, Gibson, it would take a mammoth game from China and neutral and Argentina to be able to somehow claim this throne. It would be very difficult.
We've seen stranger things, but I think the Brazil crest would look really good with a star on the top of it. I'm not going to lie, but man, this is as tight as it's going to get. I think the pressure on Brazil is insane. They've had 2 of their worst maps of PNC in the final day. Like, you talked about the pressure, was it going to get to them?
Beírhatjátok,
I think it is getting them
de nyerni már nem fogtok,
just
Misclick meg Barigator. Jó? Ez legyen a többieknek is esélye.
What would happen on that Tego if they didn't have that emergency pickup play, right? If they were coming in from the south side, when we were kind of criticizing
akkor megyünk tovább. 3 utolsó G-coin sorsolás. YouTube-on még mindig nem működik, Twitch-en van csak. Gyertek át Twitch-re. 2000 G-coin. Azt sem biztos, hogy fel tudják használni. Sifu. Olyan negatív pina vagy. Azt csinálok vele, amit akarnak. Ezt a Crafton adta nekünk, hogy sorsoljuk ki. Boldogság van a melegben a barátokkal. És ez nem igaz, Sifu, mert valamikor beváltottam egymás után 10. Mert lehet elfelejtettem kisorsolni a legutóbbit. Úgyhogy nem.
What I worry about, does China activate, does neutral go, actually, do you know what? Let's get some more money on the board for our team and be aggressive and potentially play. Then you have to insert one just on the wings, which is Denmark. We saw that.
De azóta változott ám.
If Denmark wants to go aggressive, they hot dropped and they hot dropped the neutral department. Will they do the same now?
Egy hét alatt változott? Akkor egy hét alatt változott, I guess.
Which has been just feisty. Super feisty, right? So there is a world and a potential where we could see yet another
Lehet iszok a hidegebb cserébe eskü, soha többet nem használok, Gen AI.
But I'm getting word that we have a break
ready,
and then when we return we are going to get match 15 underway here for PNC 2026. You don't want to miss it. Who is going to take it all?
Ha ugyanaz az a számjegy.
The Google Play Point. These points get you more than a high score. Play, earn, and redeem them for exclusive
igen, ebben ugyanazok az első 6 számjegy.
Supercharge your gameplay. Or score the latest must-have gear and up your game with sweet accessories. You're already winning. Now go get the rewards with Google Play Points. Redeem now and go reward yourself.
Ja, nézzék meg, majd kiderül. Ez mi? Viszont reklámban, azok elmegyek pisilni, végre várjatok. Nem ez kell, a másik. Az. Mindjárt jövök, chat. Gyors pisi.
the same passion as esports athletes, Zowie continuously develops tailored products, empowering gamers to bring their best out. Today, we are launching the all-new XL2566X Plus, which uses the newly developed Fast TN panel and upgraded Diac 2 technology. The new monitor series continue to evolve, refining details to ensure players can perform their best consistently in games.
For the first time ever, you get next-gen power in gaming earbuds, giving you flawless wireless. That's plug and play. Now you've got 100+ audio presets at your fingertips.
Yeah.
So you can hear bad guys.
Na de!
Hear whatever you want, better. That's a giant leap for earbuds. And a new way to play for glory.
Arctis Nova 7.
Hülye Final Fantasy, bazd meg, ez is a Final Fantasy hibája amúgy.
The app called the biggest cheat code in the industry is here for PC and console. It's got real-time audio control to do crazy things.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So use it and abuse it, you crazy person.
Okay.
It's the new gold standard.
De szép, az mi volt az? Végső elkezdés az elkezdésényeken, van a meleg front az. Nem kell ide ilyen hiper-szuper füles. Jó egy sima trasztos is. Ez lesz az utcsó game, bizonyám. A döntő, a mindent eldöntő döntő. Tizenöt van. Hopp, kicsit most megrekedt a stream, aló. A utcsó az izé lesz, Erangel lesz. Az utcsó az Erangel, de ez a rondó, ez elképesztő volt amúgy. Azon gondolkodok egyáltalán, hogy mit ebédeljek. Hopp, hang? Haló? Ez most nem én vagyok. Hopp, megjött, visszajött. Hát, hogyha teljes kiérdésű max, akkor már fehér lisztet próbálom kerülni. Mit tesznek ebbe a húd melegbe? Tegnap izé rámenleves tettem, az például tök jó eset. A lecsó is jó amúgy. Jó rátott cukkini. Startára. De jó az. A lecsóba kell tojás, nem? Amúgy. Mármint, hogy nyilván tudom, hogy nem kell, de hogy az tojással az így top tier. Burgert csináltak. A szabad.
Time for the last game of PNC 2026, and the question on everybody's mind, will the country that is synonymous.
És akkor gyakorlatilag jelenleg most úgy állunk, hogy akkor Brazil vagy Korea nagyon-nagyon fej mellett.
International trophy here at PNC 2026. Brazil is looking poised to do that. However, lurking in the wings is South Korea, already two-time PNC champion.
Tojástól, sőt, én erre szeretem a tojást, csak nagyon kell figyelni az ételin, vagy inzulin rezisztencia miatt. Mondjuk a tojás az egyébként pont jó, a fehérjére meg amúgy is szednem kell.
Constantly is able to post win after win after win. Joining me, Gibson, Mark, as well as Matrim to talk about this before we get into the next game. Gibson, your thoughts before we get into the last game?
What can I say? Home crowd, home venue, just 6 points to close
the gap. Ezt mondtam egyébként én is egy órája körülbelül, hogy otthon megnyerniük Korea, az mekkorát menne.
But the Brazilians, we know this is a country that knows how to win in any esport. Let's see if they can get it done.
Mark?
Let's go Brazil. That's all I'm gonna say. Bring it home, lads.
All right, game 15, PNC 2026. Let's bring it home, and what a playing path. Our Erangels have been unbelievably spicy. One team will become the champion of PNC 2026.
It all comes down to this moment, playing for the pride
of
one game left, playing path over Lippo, ending around military base. We're set for spicy. A battle of two different styles. Korea playing for circles, circle control, and Brazil playing with violence and gusto, just trying to go with guns and glory. But now finally Korea's come alive, getting high kill counts, finally breaking that 20 points on a victory.
Nem energiát ad, hanem energiát veszel.
Or can the guys in the lead continue to hold it?
Ki military?
Yeah, what a weekend to do it. It's been a scorcher around the world here.
Ki military?
World Cup looming with PNC.
Aki bátor, az military-ra ugrik.
Here as well, and the degrees are rising
Good times
throughout the world. We have got ourselves another hot game to figure out who is going to be
hát én
able
gyógyszert
to
kapok,
take
úgyhogy azért kell rá figyelni
sorts of
nagyon.
shades of shelter here for this one.
George-ra fogsz szűkülni, azt mondod? Na, olyat már nagyon sokszor láttam versenyt, ami George-ra szűkül. De az elég tud lenni. Szilvaházak, gyerekek! Úristen! The retro feels.
Waiting to see where that circle pops. You can see that they're a little bit slow on drop.
Azt military-re amúgy nagyon sokan ugrottak.
Brazil's got home territory that they're going to be playing
Török, filipino, finnek, koreaiak, Vietnám, és bazd meg!
This is one of the kind of circles that could have possibly been, right? We have had so much
hát az izé lesz. Korea amíg elkezdhet rotálni, de már bele fog futni valakibe, bazzánk, biztos lesz benne. A németek meg a izére mentek a biztosra, de nekik is rotálniuk kell az egész mapon. Jajjajjajjaj. Hoppá, ez itt mi történik? Szállj be mellé, papám, szállj be mellé, ennek maga se jó. Ó, az gatya. Szegény.
Oh, of all of the teams, Argentina finding out Denmark. Guys,
basszus, de kurva kár amúgy is. Jól láttam egyébként, hogy így? Hát nem, de... Az Argentin meg a dánok egyébként eléggé fejfej mellett voltak az izén. A tabellán. Az előző kör.
Yeah, for Vietnam obviously taking the win here from this one. It's kind of a home circle.
A Vietnám egyébként az annyira jó helyre mentek, az meg az elejétől fogva végig rájuk szűkült, hogy nagyon-nagyon lucky volt.
Down from a Vietnam win. It's just a bit of a shame that they didn't really hit the ground running similar to the way they did in PNC 2025, right?
Yeah, this is just such a big game for Korea to come.
Az a baj, hogy közben nyilván intézem a cuccokat, de hogy én kíváncsi lennék az Eranger rotákra amúgy, mert hogy így bár alapból nagyon sok ember egymásba fog találkozni. Nyilván jók voltak ezek a replayek, meg hogy látunk más szemszöget is, de most jobban érdekel Eranger.
Szia Bádító, mi a helyzet?
For the likes of Thailand, South Korea constantly making a good run of it here to try and keep themselves in the running. It's a tale as old as time now here in PUBG, right? We get our PNCs in Korea. Guess what? South Korea is always there, knocking on the door to become a champion.
Waiting for this to finish out, go ahead and give you guys an update on how the rotations are going. We end up with a pretty central circle, arms of the main island itself. Brazil's already pretty much centered up on that. And we do also have Korea making a wrap into the circle, so it's all just going to be about positioning coming up in kind of eyes onto the later circles. So you're not missing too much just yet, it's just the jockeying for position.
Poof, poof.
An early emergency pickup for Turkey is currently going on as well whilst we watch all of this out. But yeah,
why is this so long? This is like their longest one that we've seen so far.
It's the final game.
I know. It's like I need to see.
Igen, pontosan ugyanazt mondom, hogy a kaszterek bazzák, hogy inkább az utolsó gémet nézném bazzák 100 000-szer, mint az replay. De amúgy az durva, hogy senki nem halt meg azóta. Tehát, hogy a dánoknál esett ki az egy ember, akit láttunk, és kész. Szia magában, mert egyet már napozott délután. Ez elképesztő volt.
Yay! Okay. So again,
és lelőtte a
ceruzába. Finding those kills, they were
talking about the fact that they
got so close in the last game. What it was, second place, so 6 points, walking away 17 points. Very big game for them, as a lot of their games kind of not had the highest kill count. So not even getting the victory on that gives them one of their better overall point totals.
Szép, köszönöm, szép.
What I've got eyes on now is Korea. Finally coming alive, finally really getting a big kill game for themselves.
Átrotáltak már bótjárra a koreaiak? De ők militarin kezdtek.
That was talking about the fact that momentum is definitely on the side of Korea right now.
Yeah, Boatyard's not a bad spot to have as a checkpoint. The only problem is again, there's some big names ahead of you on the east side. As Philippines and
Finland a finnekkel fájtolnak, de itt ugye már itt a finn nem lesz. Oj, pedig majdnem el tudta vinni magával, valószínűleg.
There's still quite a bit of money to be won down towards the bottom here. So Scav and the boys from Team Finland looking to shut down the Philippines.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be on the eastern layer of the bridge. Thailand's going to be on the other side of it, so whoever manages to win this firefight still has to deal with another problem in front of them. Vietnam's going to have the western bridge to make their rotate. Looks like Finland doesn't really want to stay in this one for too much longer.
A kocsit elgurított az ember. Mondjuk a hang... Jószta! Milyen jó, hogy eldobta azt a readet még előtte.
Yeah, get that finish up.
A finnek egyébként amúgy így a pro színben mennyire számítanak amúgy így jónak? Nyilván oké, itt vannak, oké, tudom, hogy jók. Csak hogy mennyire. Overwatchban ki volt a finn? Fregi? Fregi finn volt, nem? Meg a Ninjas in Pyjamas, ők voltak ők voltak a finnek. Azt a kurva kora, mekkorát rotált amúgy. Szegés arra teljesen nem maradtunk.
Coming out from Korea that we've been talking about. China is going to be pretty centered up as well. Brazil's going for more of the field lay. A couple of rotation capabilities for him, but Brazil also in a very wide 2-2 split. Feels like they're playing for safety right now. And that might come back to bite them. If we end up with a cluster of teams just stacked on top of them, like, I don't know, Ukraine due south, Great Britain that's on the hunt for points, USA, Indonesia, and China all right next to as well as neutral.
Koreának nagyon nagyot kéne mennie most amúgy. Kína még simán esélyes, Argentina szintén szerintem. Mondjuk a simánnal, hát ja, simánnal azért. Nem simán, de mehetnek nagyot. Brazília és Korea itt a fejfej mellett a végén.
Just north of Rozhok that you could use to your advantage as well, if for some reason the circle doesn't quite favor that south side. Argentina just driving alongside ruins as well, coming in underneath where the Koreans have just left.
We definitely need to mention that no matter how this goes down, Argentina and Brazil should be incredibly proud of the performance they came into with this whole event. It's been a massive blow for both of these teams.
Yep, no doubt. I didn't come in thinking to myself that these two teams were going to be challenging for number one, but here they are, looking great for it. I think it really is very clear that they've worked hard on their synergy alongside their, in inverted commas, new teammates to be able to kind of play this out against some of the very best in the world. China is one of them, lurking on the east side of Rozhok alongside Korea. If China was able to shut down Korea and get a big game, there's a world where they could quite easily. Like, all they've got to do is get a 16-kill win, which is not out of the realms of possibility. We've seen it before in this tournament, right? And then China's suddenly challenging if Korea and Brazil go down early.
There is a world where Brazil and Korea.
Hát van rá esély egyébként, hogy rájön Koreára rászűkül most.
China still has opportunities in front of them.
Nincs messze, de nem jó. Hoppa, finnek már hívják vissza a társaikat, vagy a társukat inkább. Gábi, látjuk azt is először, használják a visszahívót is. Használták már többen is, nem látjuk egyszerűen. Nem, én nem láttam. Brazilok jó helyen vannak.
The problem is there's still the river. There's still Yasnaya Pond in something like this. It's such a hard circle to make a decision on.
It's a smart play if the water settings hadn't changed.
Erről van egy film is, konkrétan nézével.
Now you've kind of put yourself into a gamble for circle where Korea is also kind of doing the same. They're mirroring it on the other side of the northwest. Neutral is kind of digging themselves in while Indonesia is on the hunt. They should be able to roll these grenades down the hillside. Neutral knows it. Not feeling too good about the positioning for him now, so trying to step away from it. Looks like they still have the safety trees doing enough to provide something.
A törvénytisztelő polgárban is van. A filmnek a címét meg nem mondom, a színészt tudom, hogy ő játszott benne. De hogy erről volt egy konkrétan film.
Against Indonesia as Indo, I think they don't really want too much of this fight right now. They're kind of backing off.
Igen, Gerard Butler. Yeah.
Off a nade here so they can go over towards one of the compounds.
And it's a strong compound for the circle. I mean, it is
a filmnek a címét azt meg nem mondom, de hogy abból állt egyébként egy ilyen katonát irányított egy player játékos otthonról. Volt egy ilyen Battle Royale jellegű. Az is. Nem volt egy jó film, de egy ilyen Z-kategóriás popcorn filmnek elment. Azóta neve is egy gamer. Korábban viszont nagyon jó helyre ment amúgy. Be tudott rotálni időben. Nem a Cseppire, az Tom Hanks, ha jól emlékszem.
I do like these check-ins on how these top 4 teams have been able to rotate so far, and you're right, with Argentina lurking below Korea, all it would take was one knock, and then maybe Argentina would start to spring a bit of a trap there against Korea. Evan driving around.
Gamer játék a végsőkig, azaz igen.
Shots coming in from Rozok against them.
Embereket irányítottak és nem robotokat.
Terrain cover here. They shouldn't be too concerned about that.
Egy otthoni.
Okay.
Extra cover, you know, it's to catch the nades. So whenever they roll down there, because you know that can seat what.
Ezt nem gondoltam volna, hogy látom profi gamebe. De legalább úgy láttam, ahogy én is gondoltam, hogy abszolút haszontalan. Igen, egyébként nem robotot irányít, hanem egy katonát irányít, de hogy az alapelv az ugyanaz, tehát otthonról irányítja egy kis öcskös a katonát.
We know the Batulans and the rest of the crew will use everything they got.
Az meg az Ender's Game, amire te gondolsz. Az egyébként egy okés film lenne, csak az könyvben sokkal jobban átadja, mint a film. Szerintem.
Brazil does have one of their splits that are going to be inside the circle, as well as Korea up into the northwest, having a couple of players already in play.
De miért rakta oda a felfújhatót?
So they're going to shift down to this other spot.
Yeah, Korea backfills into that compound. Argentina trying to catch out space.
Wow!
What an interception coming in. Argentina.
Az bejött bazzeg az UAZ-zal, mint egy F-22-es Raptor, bazd meg az Argentina.
Korea's moved into the compound where they actually.
Viszont most. Chris.
I'm scared, Matrim, that if this circle.
Ha négybe megy, az még jó lehet. Egybe ment, és az jó. Argentínának lehet, hogy itt reszeltek.
How do these two squads just keep bumping into each other over and over again?
Yeah, I don't know. It's been like 4 or 5 fights that these teams have had across 15 games
hogy blokkol damage-et.
And Argentina,
hát, hogy konkrétan...
getting rinsed in a lot as well.
Tehát egy plusz fedezék, ennyi.
It's Chris in the smoke, trying to find a little bit of more of a push forwards, throwing a nade forwards, takes down Captain.
Ez nem jó. Tehát egy felfújható csónakot beraktak, ami...
That is brutal there for Argentina.
Nem láttam még életemben úgy használni, hogy rendeltetésszerűen.
Split. We also do have Thailand and Turkey kind of bouncing off of each other around the lake up into the north, but it's going to be Celtic going down and Setsuna just kind of holding back in the hallway, waiting for somebody to walk down this again. Probably the most brutal push you can make in PUBG, specifically on Erangel, to say the least, is pushing that hallway.
I'm so concerned for Korea. The gamble that they've tried
És
to
egy
go
soti.
for. Argentina's gone.
Na nézzük azt a sotit. Indonézia. A sotival. 4 amerikai ellen.
But Korea was gambling so hard on this kind of higher circle. They're even having people swim across the river now, or Korea, as they're in the pursuit of this championship.
But China has so much territory to work with down to the southwest. Everybody has gone for
Argentina
the fields
kiesett.
around Yasnaya, and China has got...
Az a baj, Kína még benn van, oroszok benn vannak, dánok benn vannak, még mindegyik átviheti tőle a top 3-at. Ott a soti! Basszus!
Indonesia is eliminated in last place.
Circle's going to be shifting soon. Tian is looking for a bit of a res here as quickly as possible to get China's full man 4 squad back up, good to go. You can see here as Guman already swam on
Kína hozza vissza a társát, körön kívül, meg ez mennyi féz? Féz 3. Féz 3, ja.
But shots coming in from Code Marco against them here. Guman's got to be very careful. If they lose him, there's no res potential.
But I'm worried about Finland pushing down onto Brazil down in the south. That's forced them to go back to the Great Britain line. Circle has now popped.
Korea egyébként, ahogy rotál folyamatosan, úgy szűkül le annyival egy minimálisat mindig róluk.
You can see kind of caught out. Finland though doesn't look like they've got a focus into going after the solo player from Brazil. He's trying to just make it down and regroup. But Great Britain now just trying to move into a gatekeeping position. This now means 3 squads, all of them European, on the outside of this, watching Brazil right on the edge of the zone.
Yeah, Finland, I think they were trying to cordon off any teams going around, and technically they can move just a little bit north onto Volcano location, so that should be okay for them.
Még a finnek jöhetnek mögöttük amúgy. Lepusolhatják a finnek a brazilokat.
At all this compound. You really lose a lot of vehicles down here if people are looking down on this spot. You'll be able to survive here, but you're not getting many kills off of it. And I think Sparking and the boys realize this. I think they realize it's go time to find a spot towards some of these fields. Maybe
megpróbálnak körben keresni egy pozit. Egy ember kiesett a braziloktól. Kettő!
Brazil sends it into the center of the circle and narrowly survives.
Bazd meg!
They've got a little bit of a car fort, some smokes as well here to try and deny some of those lines of sight. One of the cars is gone now though as well. To Kraken and Sparking, no kills go their way. Thailand's going to move on the Germany position up against this field, try and take down its Chris. They do in kind, and also Justice has gone over in this other position. So now Germany's going to tail and leave. Thailand doing a lot of damage to them as they do move forwards. But the tail of the tape is Brazil.
Nem volt kicsit korai az rota?
Vietnam is trying to push into USA. Looks like they might take a casualty off of it. Actually, no. Hamas just jumps out. He should be fine. That's going to be a foothold position, so the rest of Vietnam could come after that. I was worried USA might discourage that approach and force them more down in the Brazil position.
Viszont egyet most visszaszedtek, ugye? Egy ember még most visszaesik tőlük, csak nem tudom, hogy hova tud esni. Meg a braziloknál ugye 2 ember most esett.
Potentially having crosshairs on them in just a few as China still has tons of space to work from. It's pretty much clear from them all the way over to neutral.
Spaceman back in for China.
Korea átteszi a németeknek a pozícióját. Nem tudom, hogy tudják-e, hogy üres már azóta. Tájcsapat ott van mellettük, és eléggé kemények. Az miért te azt nem is gondoltatok, hogy azért más lesz ott, ott egyből bele a vízbe.
China doesn't like this though. They see somebody that's just bold enough to dive into the water. It's like, these guys don't care. We got stuff to play for. Let's send it the other side. They're going to wrap around. That puts them in Denmark's sight line. But that little bit of a
hova esett a kínaiaknak a harmadik játékosa, azt látjuk, de most esik le, őt lövik a levegőbe.
That opens up a lot more for China as Turkey's kind of defending their back now as the circle pops. Korea's narrowly in it, Brazil as well.
Korea benn van. Nem jó helyen, de benn van.
I'm a little bit concerned for Korea though, unless they can win out some straight 4v4 firefights, right? Like Thailand lurking over.
Most le kell fightolniunk azért a tájcsapatot 4v4-be amúgy, igen. Ha ott akarnak maradni. Koreaiak. Brazilok benn vannak. Nem tudom mennyire jó helyen. Oroszok szintén jó helyen vannak amúgy. Hopp, az beakadhat pedig ott az a fej.
Gonna go ahead and get eliminated there. Not too much else that they could do from that position. More and more squads are starting to falter, but with Argentina, everybody else has been down to the bottom. So Real is still having opportunities for China and Neutral continue their climb. Denmark wants to try to catch up to Neutral as well, but Korea and Brazil continue to be the focuses. Oh my God. Korea has themselves a setup and a mortar.
De bazeg, nem lenne jobb egyébként beküldeni az erdőbe? Hallják is, hogy ott ülnek az.
I understand it, right? I think that they want to play
de azok mozogni fognak mindenképpen. Hopp, angol, rota. Egy brazil kész. Brazilok kiestek. Angoloknál egyetlen egy ember él.
They know it. They saw it inside the kill feed. They have to be careful. Thailand's on the other side. Denmark taking some casualties. Tian managed to find one, but he goes down. Nades coming out, counter on the side of it.
Egyébként akkor viszont az azt jelenti, hogy túlélte az a kínai srác, akit visszahívtak.
Ukraine starting to take a couple of shots into Finland. That's going to be Ukraine completely eliminating them. United Kingdom now goes down as well. Vietnam, USA stacked up next to each other. Everybody's starting to fall, but we haven't managed to make the placements yet, and that's what Korea wants.
I think this entry point is really good for Korea. I think they know why they're slow rolling it, right? Like they can exist on this west side of the circle for quite a while. And yeah,
még egy kicsit túl kell élni. Még mindig nem kell forszolniuk a fightot a tájcsapattal, akik ott vannak mellette, és amúgy ez nekik nagyon-nagyon jó.
They just roll right into Xiaowu's face. They're gonna get the knockout to him as well. Shilla comes up big. Wow. China just what? That is crazy push. The spaceman's all the way across the circle.
Azok a törökök megjöttek a világ faszáról, a szegény.
Denmark here is going to be a bit of a roadblock for Turkey. Fairist also doing damage against Denmark here. Try to do okay, Belmoth knocks Songjang. That's important. What's actually going on?
Szerintem az egy kínai, aki él még, az körön kívül van valahol Jasnaja szélén.
Neutral also doing damage to Denmark. I think that technically some of those Western threats are all killing off themselves.
Közben egy panzer a németekre, az utolsó német játékos? Nem, még van egy. Azt se láttuk.
Korea is not in it. It's focused in on USA, Vietnam, as well as Ukraine. Ukraine
4v2 a oroszok és a dánok között.
Neutral has to figure out what they're going to be doing with it. Korea has to start popping off. They do not have the circle anymore. They have Thailand in front of them on one side and Neutral on the other.
It's looking more and more likely that it's time for a new champion here at PNC. Levante for Neutral shuts down Denmark. They fall. There's a few teams that could potentially leapfrog their position here, but now we're on board with Gumin, knowing that this west side is still extremely important. Can Neutral shut down Korea? If they defend
ez a fight, ezt most nem tudom mennyire kellene forszolniuk egyébként nekik.
Neutral could have a big game and maybe leapfrog that second place, but you've got to beat Korea.
Oda-vissza néd. 3v3.
Time to firefight. Korea running forward. Does have Batulins down. Neutral trying to figure out how they can retaliate. Thailand's using the opportunity to just crest along the sides, mirroring this, using the ridgeline for cover. But Korea has to just bully their way up this hillside. They have to remove Neutral, who is firmly entrenched.
Thailand's charging nades as well off on the left hand side of this camera. You can't see it maybe coming in, but this could be devastating. Also nades coming in from Neutral as well, trying to shut down Korea. Is it time for a new champion here at PNC? It looks like a little bit of a back off from Thailand on this fight. They're not peeking over, they're not cresting the hill to shut down Korea, so it's still just Korea versus Neutral.
Well, Neutral hasn't been able to get in the circle either. Shilla's creeping from back behind. Lu does get the knock onto Songjang, but Heather finally gets the flash out onto Batulins. Neutral still with 3 up. Korea's got nowhere to go. You can see that they're trying to run away. Another knock. Just one up on the other side.
Azt az egy ember, az körön kívül. Meg kell ülni.
Not forget Thailand. Still on the other side. Neutral, do you go on the hunt or do you go for the circle?
I think if you hunt them, it's the only way you can get more money on the board. This is difficult here now for Korea. Almost impossible.
Hogyha lepusolják egyébként az oroszoknak, az rohadt jó. Megpróbálják. Hoppa, tájcsapat is most jön meg. Ájj, szendvics. Gatya. Azt a kurva. És nem lett meg az elég pont a nyerésre. Azt a kurva.
Korea down, brutal scenes here. They will not be 3 times champion Levante. Why are you suddenly going crazy here in this game?
Ez a pali, ez mit csinál? A grozával.
Trying to climb, trying to find some more out of this right now. Neutral has to find something to work from. Their disadvantaged positions. You can see smokes going down in front of them. So hard to navigate as the focus now from Thailand has shifted back over. Can Brazil and all the work that they put in be enough? Can Neutral creep up, usurp the position that Korea's got right now? Just 10 points and there's still a lot
és közben a tájjátékosokat lövik mások is hátba, és közben megpróbálnak megpusolni.
Now also starting to shift a little bit of their focus onto Thailand's positioning.
Yeah, I think if Neutral actually wants to take a second place here, they need some help for the rest of the lobby. I think that Thailand technically is the first one to call, but is focusing their attention on them. Neutral down. That's a good place at the moment. And there's no way Spaceman. I think he has nothing. I don't think he's going to be able to lead after coming in from that res. So that might just be the podium completely finished here, but the fight for the mid pack is still raging on. Yeah, he's got zero hit. There's no way he gets 6 more points at least.
Yeah, I mean, unless he can run up and punch a couple of people that have been knocked. Ukraine to the south, taking control over everything, but you can see it is Thailand. 90 points.
És a kínai öcskös az még mindig él, akik visszahívtak.
Vietnam 80. A lot to still be fought for right now as 11th through 7th fighting to see how much higher they can go because Argentina at 101
nincs az Isten egyébként, hogy behozza azt a pontszámot. Szerintem a brazilok már nyugodtan ülhetnek. Igen.
Brazil knows they've done it, I think. Look at that.
Tudják a brazilok.
Elation and the absolute satisfaction of what we just witnessed here from the coach. But now Thailand, oh no, they're clown carring it, Matrim.
They just got to send it and go. Vietnam, USA have been holding the compounds around just close enough. They didn't have to go too far. Spaceman's taking some gruesome damage, just trying to creep his way forward. So a lot of this coming down to the focal points that compounds that USA is playing from. It just seems like the circle keeps pulling that way. Ukraine doesn't have as much to work with because if they keep pushing on that higher ridge, it is very punishable.
Yeah, Ukraine, 11 kills. Like, technically, Thailand, USA, Ukraine could all actually jump up really nicely.
Az a baj, hogy a kínai öcskösnek, aki ott patkánykodik a kör szélén.
Yeah, okay, we're only 3 alive, but a lot of the fights on the northern side are gonna have to pop off one after another against each other. Not so much Ukraine, who still has a decent
behozhatta volna egyébként, hogyha megnyerik az 10 pont, meg akkor még kellett volna még azt hiszem mennyi 5 kill, meg killenként 1 pont, azt hiszem.
Spaceman keeping the crawl going, but you've got Tanvu right next to you. Look, if somebody knocks Tanvu and flushes him out, maybe he can get something to work with. That's the only dream he's got.
A little bit of a push up from Ukraine once again into the smokes, laid down very well here. Hakatori with 6, Fairist with 4. Fairist has been fantastic for Ukraine throughout the survival stage into this final as well. And now that circle favors a little bit of Ukraine's position as well as the compound here from USA, who
ez a legtöbb, amit tud csinálni. Ezzel szerez pontokat. És egyébként ezzel, hogyha szerez még 6 helynyi pontot, az, nem tudom mennyi pontot fog kapni így a végén amúgy igazából, de akkor még a harmadik helyet átveheti még Kína az oroszoktól.
Can at least get right up into the face of USA, but that does put them in a vulnerable position from Vietnam. A couple of shots come out from him. Does get the knock on to Belmont.
Yeah, save with that spray. You got to hit the first one, but he was able to save it with just a little bit more. Nice nade there. Belmoth goes down. Vietnam, you're not winning this one into the tournament overall. There will be a new PNC champion, but Vietnam's not done just yet. Gives Himas a little bit of room here to make some magic happen, maybe.
It's one squad wipe for Vietnam, and they're tied up with Ukraine. This is just so back and forth between all of it. As Spaceman continues to just watch all of the action go on. Thailand's so much tastier than I am. Just watching the blue crawling away from it. No real shots coming out yet, so oddly enough, that is the action to watch on all of this. Does anybody notice the giant blob of Spaceman creeping up that behind
I like the idea of like, if I don't look at them, they can't see me.
Konkrétan egyébként azt használja, amit az ilyen kommentátor is mondott, hogy ha nem nézek rájuk, akkor ők se látnak engem.
Still waddling on backwards. This is ridiculous. Himas has no clue. He's basically shadow stepping at this point. Shadow crawling. What a weird scenario, but good job, I guess.
Himas is not known for being like the guy to watch flanks. His job is to shoot the things in front of him, and the things in front of him right now are Ukraine. And Spaceman's gotta love it. Vietnam, they know that they want these big points. points. They don't want one, they want squad wipes. That's what they're hunting for right now, and a weakened Ukraine is definitely something they're going to want to pounce on.
Elképesztő egyébként, miket lehet látni. Most hopp egy panzer az ukrán játékosnál még, meg egy M249, már man. Ezt tudja, hogy kell játszani.
But Hakatori now sends some nades forwards. That's a massive nade in terms of doing the damage to everybody on Vietnam. They're going to be scrambling. They do take down Boomstick, but now Hakatori and Ferris, what can they do against this? Knowing that flanking around could quite easily be an issue as that Molly goes forward. A seat swap.
Nem meglátták!
Those nades from Ukraine forced Vietnam to retreat. That kills off Spaceman.
F in chat for Spaceman.
USA's been trying to hold down.
Pause pedig mit man?
Outside of it has to be careful because Vietnam's got a line onto it. Ukraine still very focused on the Vietnam, but Vietnam's got goals, and it's a run right into USA's face. Kickstart's gonna go down, and it feels like Vietnam is coming alive.
Solozzi takes the roof as well.
Amerikaiaknál kettő rokkos, de benn vannak. Amúgy egy házra figyel mindenki, az ukránok még kint vannak. 3 csapat van ennél a háznál. Tetőn az egyik oldalt egy, bent az amerikaiak. És még az ukránok kintről tartják. Hát ez valószínűleg ez elképesztő.
Ukraine stacked up those kills with 11 right now.
Egy ukrán játékosnak veszeltek, a másikat lepussolja a Vietnám, közben hátba lövik. Úristen, mi ez a káosz? Olyan panzer! Nem korrektel.
And it is Thailand that manages to take down Ukraine, but it is a mess. It is a 1v1v2.
Azt a kurva!
What am I watching? This is absolutely popping off.
Jézusom!
Yes, they do.
Azt a mindenit, mi volt ez a vége? Hát én nem is bírtam követni.
In the end, a very important victory for Vietnam, but really the tale is what would be the boyhood dream here, Matrim, for Brazil.
Hát a brazilok meg megnyerték.
Your PNC 2026 champions.
Megkapják a kis öltözéket, amit fel kell venni, gondolom, a stage-re.
So much heart comes out from these guys. So hard they had to fight.
Hát az bazdmeg, az a súlyogás, az elképesztő volt bazdmeg.
And all the squads coming so close. I'm gonna be terrified to see Korea's side of this when we actually do, because it is going to be heartbreak for them, Gibson and Mark.
Oh man, parabéns Brazil, vai Brazil, they get it done, and look, I don't think anybody can disagree.
Hát bazdmeg, az azért 10 millió per kopf.
After the end of the second map, and they'd remain there all the way through PNC. Well deserved, well earned, a massive victory for Brazil, and
de azért a többieknek sem kell csüggedniük egyébként. Korea mennyit kap? Korea $56,000. Hát azért az lényegesebben kevesebb, ugye? De az is egy, mit tudom én, az is egy kb. Majdnem 5 millió per fő.
Sparking, are you ready for an interview? Should I give you a minute? Okay, have a minute. I'll talk to Kraken first. All right, Kraken. It honestly is a more than words can describe moment, right?
Wow.
You were here in 24, you're back again 26, and here you lift the trophy. How are you feeling right now?
I just want to say thank you, God. Só quero agradecer a Deus que a gente conseguiu isso aqui, foi graças a Ele. Eu sou a pessoa mais feliz do mundo.
Hát mindjárt sírok én is.
Mais feliz da minha vida. Obrigado por todo mundo estar aqui.
Obrigado, de nada.
Eu não tenho que falar, velho. Obrigado.
If we could give one of the translators a microphone. 잠시만요. 제가 브라질 크라켄 선수에게 24년을 출전하고 올해 다시 출전하게 되면서 아쉬웠던 마음 많이 하는 지금 우승 소감을 여쭤봤습니다. 답변해 주시죠.
일단은 너무 기쁘고 표현할 수 없이 너무 기쁩니다. 일단은 하나님한테 너무 감사하고 이런 기회를 주시고 그리고 너무 행복하고 여기 오늘 참석하는 분들께도 모두에게 감사드립니다.
Kraken is just super thankful and grateful for this very opportunity. Honestly, what he's feeling right now is more than words can describe, and he is thankful for everything. He thanks God mostly. All right, Sparking. Are you okay for an interview? Okay. This is your 5th PNC. You're the one that must have wanted it more than anyone on the team.
Nagyon nemzetközi a beszélgetés amúgy valóban.
Eu não sei o que falar hoje. Eu sonhei por esse dia a minha vida inteira. Eu incontáveis campeonatos que eu passei olhando os outros levantar essa taça e eu sempre pensei, eu quero estar no lugar deles, meu Deus, eu vou estar no lugar deles um dia. Vindo de uma região onde nunca tinha conquistado nada. Quantas vezes eu pensei em desistir, quantas vezes eu pensei em parar, quantas vezes eu pensei que eu não fosse capaz. Mas Deus me provou errado, esse grupo de pessoas que está comigo hoje me provaram errado. E é para todos vocês no Brasil que não importa onde você esteja na sua vida.
Két számon nagyobb rá, de szerintem ez ilyen izé volt, ez ilyen bárki megkaphatja, csak ki tudod.
Isso aqui é por vocês,
azért nagyobb.
É por vocês, Brasil!
이제 스파킹 선수의 5번째 PNC인 만큼 팀원 누구보다 가장 우승이 간절했을 것 같았는데 눈물의 의미에 대해서 한번 물어봤습니다.
일단은 이 순간을 많이 꿈꿔왔고 그리고 많은
이게
경기
포토션.
나가는 중에서도 언젠가 이렇게 이룰 꿈을 이룰 수 있는지를 기대했습니다. 다른 팀들이 올라갈 때마다 트로피를 받을 때마다 나도 언젠가 내 순간을 기다려왔고 그리고 이 순간이 오늘서 너무 행복합니다. 오늘 하루가 살면서 제일 행복하고 살면서 슬럼프랑 포기할 생각이 올 때도 있었지만 이렇게 견뎌내서 너무 기쁩니다. 꿈을 이뤄서 너무 행복하고 우리 나뿐만 아니라 우리 그리고 우리 브라질 모두에게도 이렇게 트로피를 전달 수 있게 해서 너무 감사합니다.
Well, Sparking has dreamt of this very moment since his career. Every time he watched from the sidelines, other teams lifting that trophy, he's dreamt of that moment. When will I get to lift that trophy? And he is so over the moon that he gets to bring his home country, Brazil, a trophy that he's longed for a very, very long time. And speaking of which, Sparking has asked me that he wants to add in one more thing, so let me hear what that is.
Só queria agradecer todo mundo que está assistindo, que acordou às 7 horas da manhã, a torcer pra gente. Obviamente, agradecer minha avó Conceição, que tá lá em cima agora. Agradecer minha mãe Bianca, meu pai José, meu irmão João, minha irmã Francisca e minha namorada Luísa.
A Franciskának köszöni, bazzeg, látjátok? A Gáriának.
스파킹 선수가 한마디 더 해도 되냐고 요청을 해서 제가 한번 들어봤고요. 통역해 주시죠.
한마디 하나 더 있는데요. 오늘 아침 일찍 브라질에 오전 7시 일찍 일어나서 우리 응원해주는 모든 팬들에게 너무 감사드리고
Azt kérdezi, van-e még G-coin? Lehet nyerni még, igen.
우리 할머니에게도 이 순간을 기다렸던 할머니한테 너무 감사드립니다. 브라질에 계신 부모님, 가족 그리고 여자친구한테도 제가 가고 있다, 기다린다.
He wants to say a special shout out to the fans at home and of course all the family fans watching at 7 a.m. in Brazil. He wants a very special mention to his grandma in heaven and of course his family, his parents, and of course his beloved girlfriend as well. All right, well, this is a very emotional moment even for me as well, but Biel is just standing there with big smiles, so let's hear it from Biel. Well, you were here at 25, right? And you are definitely one of the key players that made so many highlight moments here. Well, you must be very, very proud of yourself, right? Biel, what are you thinking?
Bom, primeiramente, antes de mais nada, eu queria agradecer a Deus.
E a coach,
porque sem ele eu não estaria aqui, ele que me capacita e ele que me dá condições para fazer esses highlights. Então eu queria que toda a honra, toda a glória seja dada a ele. E, bom, eu tô muito feliz. Eu, sinceramente, não sei o que dizer. Eu acho que a ficha não caiu ainda, porque eu não chorei, eu não fiz nada, eu fiquei de boa. Então, mano, eu quero agradecer a todo mundo aqui, agradecer a minha família, a meu pai, minha mãe, meu irmão, que sempre acreditou em mim desde o começo. Eu tô muito feliz.
Kicsit érzék, Conti meg Ricsi szerelem gyereke, nem?
Oportunidade de estar aqui mais um ano e graças a Deus a gente conseguiu o título.
우선 비엘 선수에게 2년 연속 PNC에 출전하면서 하이라이트 장면을 올해 정말 많이 이뤄냈다고 얘기를 해봤습니다. 그리고 스스로에게 되게 자랑스러울 것 같은데 소감을 한번 여쭤봤거든요. 뭐라고 답변하셨나요?
일단 하나님께 너무 감사드리고 이 순간을 주신 하나님 그리고
a balra a második öcskösnek a szemcsi, az miért izé?
너무 기뻐서 뭐라고 할 수도 어떻게 말해야 될지 모르고 아직 안 믿겨져요.
Ugye elkezd énekelni, letörtétek a tükrünket.
안 나올 정도로 이게 아직 안 믿겨집니다. 근데 너무 감사하고 브라질에 계신 이제 부모님, 형제 그리고 모든 분들에게 이런 기회를 주시고 더 감사합니다.
First and foremost, Bill would love to thank God first, and honestly, all the love that his family supports him, sends his way, he definitely wants to give them a special shout as well. And honestly, Bill, he said that it looks like the tears, the feelings, and winning this trophy hasn't hit him yet. You know, he is smiling, the tears are waiting, and it's so surreal that he doesn't even know where to describe how he's feeling at the moment. Yeah, rightfully so, and I'm sure the tears will hit back in a minute. All right, let's move over to Tony with the cool shades. All right, looking good with the shades, Tony. This is your first PNC, and it's not every day that someone, a professional PUBG player, gets to win a trophy at his very first international. How are you feeling? Are you just super happy?
Tô muito feliz e...
Asta kurva!
Eu sei, não tenho palavras pra descrever o que eu tô
Imádom!
sentindo, porque é muito difícil estar aqui.
Ezt tudjátok ki? Ez Darud.
Mas graças a Deus, Deus me colocou aqui e Jesus
ez az elhízott Darud.
Porque toda vez eu pensei em desistir, muitas vezes, não foi uma nem foi duas, foi muitas vezes eu pensei em desistir e Deus me deu forças pra estar aqui hoje. E eu confiei em Deus.
Egy ember felbaszta a szemüveget a gukkert, csak hogy ne lássák, hogy sír.
A gente confia em Deus e Deus é na frente.
Ezek aranyos srácok
Eu
amúgy.
queria agradecer todo o suporte, os brasileiros estão na torcida por nós. Queria agradecer a todo mundo que está em casa assistindo, minha família, minha namorada, minha mãe, meu pai, minha família toda. É muito bom estar aqui. Só tenho a agradecer a vocês, eu não tenho muita coisa para falar. Só Jesus is the way, the true and the life.
우선 멋진 선글라스를 쓰면서 기다리고 있던 토니
선수에게 첫 PNC
출전하자마자 프로 게이머 어느 누구도 첫 번째 국제대회에서 트로피를 이렇게 들어 올릴 수 있을 거라 예상을 못했을 것 같은데 지금 첫 국제대회에서 우승까지 성공한 소감에 대해서 여쭤봤습니다.
Amúgy basszeg, csóró öcskösök érted megnyerik a legkomolyabb pénzeket, meg a legkomolyabb trófeát. Hát én már húznék le a színpadról a picsába.
하지만 헌신
Fasznak lenne kedve már még ott állni.
해서 여기까지 왔습니다. 일단 하나님한테도 너무 감사드리고 하나님의 주관 때문에 여기 덕분에 여기 왔습니다. 캐리어 하면서 이제 그 맨 순간에 슬럼프가 좀 많았지만 그래도 하나님을 믿어서 오늘 여기까지 이 자리에 덕분에 왔습니다. 그리고 모든 서포트 해준 분들께 응원해주고 뭐 가족, 형제 모든 분들께 그리고 팬들에게도 감사드립니다.
You know, any word doesn't do what Tony's
Hiszem, hogy
feeling
mindenhol
any
magyar adózási
justice. And
törvények vannak.
honestly, he's had a couple of rocky
De valamennyi
patches
biztos, persze.
throughout his professional career, but he is so glad and over the moon, and he wants to give a special shout out to Jesus because Jesus is the way, and of course his beloved family in Brazil and everyone that has supported him throughout his professional career that actually contributed to his win today. All right, last but not least, our coach RDS, the man who's been standing there with the flag for the longest time. All right, let's hear it from the coach.
Jó az ez a csizma, amúgy eladja. A gatya is jó. De amúgy én már biztos, hogy piálnék a háttérben, tehát ez 100%.
To take a trophy home. All right, Hivi, what are you saying? What are you thinking, RDS?
Pessoal, tô aqui desde o começo do PUBG. Eu competi
közelebb, papá.
6 anos aí como player e agora eu resolvi treinar. Nos últimos 2 anos eu tô treinando essa nova geração. Tô com um Kraken aqui, que é um moleque que desde o começo eu treinei ele liderar o grupo.
Muito!
No início do treino.
Ez a magas az a?
E até hoje tem 2 anos que a gente tá
trabalhando
nisso.
Amúgy látom a referenciát.
Igen. Junto conseguir
a szemüveg miatt leginkább
amúgy.
Que
é o sonho de todo mundo que tá no Brasil. O pessoal jogou todas as screens desde o começo lá, quando a gente estava criando nosso cenário, quando era grama ainda. Tenho certeza que tá todo mundo muito feliz com esse momento aqui, grandioso. É isso, eu tô muito feliz e contente com o trabalho que os meninos entregaram. Tô muito satisfeito com o que foi feito aqui, o trabalho de cada um, a responsabilidade que cada um puxou, a alegria que a gente jogou. E é isso aí, isso aqui é Brasil, porra.
이제 RDS 코치님께서는 작년 PNC 코치로 이렇게 출전을 했고 그리고 지금 인터뷰가 진행되는 상황처럼 깃발을 가장 오래 들고 계셨는데 그만큼 선수들을 옆에서 보면서 지금 어떤 생각이 드는지 이 여정에 대해서 누구보다 잘 알고 계실 것 같아서 어떤 생각이 드는지 한번 여쭤봤습니다.
일단은 제가 플레이어를 6년 동안 했고 그리고 코치로는 2년 동안을 진행했습니다.
Sold out, wow.
브라질에서 이제 브라질 모든 분들께 이렇게 가진 플레이어처럼 그 꿈을
Király, úgyhogy felülről látszódnak az zászlók is.
일단 이 순간은 너무 기쁘고요. 각자 했던 자리에서 열심히 해줘서 너무 만족스럽고 오늘 경기도 너무 행복합니다.
I mean, RDS has spent 6 years as a professional PUBG player, a gamer himself, and 2 years as the coach. And honestly, just thankful and grateful for everything that he's been able to accomplish from this very moment, and wants to give out a very special shout out once again to all his beloved people and of course the fans. All right, well, this is your PNC 2026 champions, Team Brazil. 이렇게 해서 팀 브라질 PNC 2026 챔피언 인터뷰 만나봤습니다. 저희는 잠시 후 시상식으로 돌아오겠습니다. We'll be back with the award ceremony, and of course, let's hear this out. Yes, sure.
팬 3명 있는데 혹시 내려올 수 있는지.
All right, let's get the trophy ceremony going on first.
Mindig attól félek egyébként, hogy leesik a trófea, vagy valami történik vele. Közel volt a vége amúgy.
An amazing and an emotional victory for Brazil. You could hear it in their words, how much it means to them here to come from humble beginnings, to be able to finally raise this trophy. I think for a lot of those players as well, they never thought it would happen, but they came with fortitude, they came with perseverance, they came with a fire.
Ja, ez amúgy nagyon király volt. Én elgondoltam volna egyébként, hogy ennyire fogom élvezni amúgy ezt is, de tényleg tök király volt.
What just normal men are able to accomplish here on the battlegrounds for PUBG. That is Brazil becoming the champion for PNC 2026. That is Brazil taking on all comers, the very best the globe had to offer to become the champion. Joining me, Gibson, Mark and Matrim to talk
akkor mehet a 3 sorsolás szerintem. Én úgy gondolom, hogy ott tartunk most. Hogy kisorsolhatjuk ezt a 3 kódot, és szerintem most már ezzel befejeződött maga a verseny is. Úgyhogy menjen a sorsolás, azt mondom, hogy 3, 2, 1 és 3 kód lesz. Az első az Gavcsi. Nem segítesz papám egyébként ezzel, csak mondom neked, hogy megjössz, megkérdezed, hogy kell-e kód, vagy van-e kód, aztán egyből nyersz egyet, úgyhogy legközelebb, hogyha így van, akkor legalább kussolj már. Úgyhogy Gavcsi, nagyon szép, gratulálok. Következő, Bedrock 36, nagyon szép. És a harmadik pedig Lias 96. Ő is nyert már a mai nap, de ő még 2-t nem nyert, úgyhogy ő neki még odaadhatjuk egész nyugodtan, úgyhogy gratulálok. Igen, tehát volt egy Liasunk, van egy Bedrockunk, meg van egy Gavcsink. Úgyhogy írjatok rám majd szépen. Nyilván egyébként csak jelzem, hogy szuboknak nagyobb esélye van, még mindig. Mert ők azok, akik itt vannak és támogatják a csiti-csatit, úgyhogy ha valaki esetleg gondolkodik. Sifu, következő ugye ő lenne. Hát igen. Unlucky Sifu. Konkrétan a feliratkozói modifier az 10-szeres, a VIP az 5, többi az pedig 1-esen van.
If you think about that podium as well, as we take a look back, it looks like we're going to have some more here coming from the main stage. As everything is getting ready as well for their final trophy ceremony to occur. Let's check in and see what's going on.
Itt van még valami itt a végén.
엄청난 활약을 했습니다. 마지막 매치에서도 이 존재감을 드러내면서 매치에서 우승을 차지하게 됐습니다. 이제 선수들이 무대로 등장합니다. 여러분의 뜨거운 박수 보내주십시오.
Team Brazil has recorded 85 kills this Nations Cup. They deserve it because they were the most fearful team on the server.
네. 챔피언에게만 주어지는 챔피언 의상까지 해서 정말 멋진 경기를 만들어 줬습니다. 자, 그럼 시상을 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 킬 리더 시상에는 이번 유니폼 만들어주신 분 곳이죠. 무신사 고영대 본부장님께서 직접 수고해 주시겠습니다. 뜨거운 박수 모시겠습니다.
To assist our award presentation, Mr. Director, Head of Sports Sales at Mushinsa, the sponsor of our very beautiful uniform, has joined here us at the venue today. Please.
그래서 이 무신사 유니폼이 난리가 났습니다. 많은 팬분들이 구하시려고 해도 마지막에 전부 다 매진될 정도로 많은 사랑을 받았습니다.
Na jó gyerekek, akkor viszont kiosztom a kódokat, aztán utána szerintem végeztünk.
그럼 시상을 진행하도록
Ja. Jó volt ez király volt nagyon. De remélem ti is élveztétek amúgy. Azt mondja, hogy... Kell egy kód ide. Kell egy kód oda. Gavcsi Discordon írt, az is jó. És akkor az pedig megy oda. Jó, papáim! Én nagyon-nagyon szépen köszönöm mindenkinek, hogy itt voltatok. Remélem élveztétek. Én nem gondoltam volna, hogy egyébként ez ennyire fun lesz és szórakoztató. De hát, hogyha amennyiben is kapok még lehetőséget erre, akkor legközelebb is mehet egész nyugodtan. De szerintem azért egész sokan voltunk így végig az egész versenyen, úgyhogy tök király. Köszönöm szépen mindenkinek, hogy itt voltatok, meg köszi szépen a követéseket, támogatásokat. Óriási királyok vagytok. Én tartok egy kisebb szünetet. Ki kell menni a 100 000 fokba, úgyhogy annak nem fog örülni. És este akkor érkezünk a Black Budget-tel, Yeezyvel és Blyjal, meg hát lehet, hogy az még ilyen hajnalába is átmehet még. Majd meglátjuk, úgyhogy PUBG egész nap. Köszi szépen mindenkinek, hogy itt voltatok. Kitartást a melegbe és jó pihit így vasárnap. Szevasz, bádis. Csúmi mindenkinek! Szevasztok!